I'm excited.
Welcome back to the 2017 Splatoon World Inkling Invitational as we showcase Splatoon 2. We're down to our finals. 2 teams, Deadbeat representing USA and Dynamute representing Japan. What are they battling for? Well, we have got the award right next to us. We'd love to introduce the Splatoon Sterling Squid, over 30 pounds of bragging rights to the victorious team. These 2 teams will face off, and not a best of 3, not a best of 5, but a best of 7 as they get set. So it's going to be the first team to win 4 matches. And let's show you the order of these matches and how we will approach them as these teams get set to square off. And we've already seen both teams very impressive in elimination mode. Dynamute has been flawless so far. So as you look at this, Ashley, and here's how it goes. Splat zones in game 1, tower control game 2, turf war game 3, Rainmaker game 4, and if necessary, we go back to tower control, turf war, and Rainmaker. So Ashley, both these teams on this stage, what do you think is going through the mind of these players?
Oh, I mean, I think that really right now they are so locked in that nothing's different than just playing a game any other time. I mean, they play at such a high level. I think it really is, it's almost like a muscle memory. You sit down, you're ready to play, you're locked in, you say, okay, I know what I did the last few matches. I know how I can adjust. They've been watching each other play this afternoon, so I think there's definitely some opportunity for some strategy and some counter strategy.
Right. These teams are, as you said, completely in the zone. I mean, I know that when I play Splatoon, you know, I'm not thinking about anything else, and people can be talking to me. I'm like, what? You know, because like I don't hear anything, I don't see anything except the game.
Well, what we were discussing with Dynamute before we started, and we've seen evident at this point as we get started with our first match in the grand finals of the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. Dynamute, representing Japan, taking on Deadbeat, representing North America. Deadbeat has found their stride recently. Dynamute dominant since the beginning. Let's get started on Inkblot Art Academy. In orange for Deadbeat, they're going to go with the heavy splatling, 2 splatter shots, and a slosher. Meanwhile, for Dynamute in the turquoise, you've got a splatter shot pro, a slosher, a charger, and a roller. An early action, Dynamute getting out to the middle of the splat zone, but Deadbeat has a chance. It's going back and forth early on, Ashley.
I think we're going to see Dynamon head up to that top area and really kind of establish himself up top, but gets splatted. Wit takes him out.
Critical splat by Wit, because you saw Dynamute try to time up the Ink Storm with Dynamon climbing to the top. Atubado getting the splat right now, trying to push back Deadbeat. Right now, you've got Dynamute in the middle of that splat zone with an 83-100 advantage, 3-3 on the field.
Yeah, Atabaro's trying really hard to get some ink on the ground there, try to take that splat zone. I think that big, giant chunk of orange is the last thing keeping them from taking it over. And, I mean, honestly, they lost control, but can they hold?
Wit and Deadbeat gonna go ahead and seize control as they get a whole bucket of orange ink in the middle of the splat zone. 86, 61, 30-second penalty for Dynamute. Now let's see if Deadbeat can push back Dynamute. 4-3 on the field, special ready to go for power and that heavy splatling whenever he chooses to do so. Here comes some Tenta missiles to try and keep Dynamute at bay. No success there. However, Deadbeat gonna take the early lead in this one.
A lot of orange on the ground.
40 left. 4-4 on the field, but you see 3 specials ready for Dynamute as they get set to make that ink storm in the middle of the zone.
Yeah, that was the way for them to sort of push forward, because for a while there, I mean, they were doing Deadbeat was doing a really good job keeping Dynamute out from that splat zone.
61-39, and Dynamute has control of the splat zone as they start to get that timer to tick down. That penalty is now down to just 15 seconds. 4-3 advantage on the field for Dynamute as we see Tim trying to go up this ink-proof ramp. It's going to slow him down a little bit, trying to flank on Dynamon. Dynamon going to make it rain, though, by flicking that Dynamo roller and using that horizontal and vertical flick to cause some damage.
I mean, that vertical flick is brutal, and he really just uses it to its maximum effectiveness.
However, Deadbeat with the lead, 39-57. However, no penalty for Dynamute as that timer starts to tick really close to a tie here, 46-39. It's going to be Dynamute that's going to try and take the lead unless Deadbeat can do something, and that's the lead. Oh, just at the last second, Deadbeat able to get it. Deadbeat trying to seize control, 39-38. Deadbeat trails Dynamute, 35-second penalty. Control in the middle right now for Deadbeat. Deadbeat 3-1 on the field for Deadbeat. Here goes Witt going to the top of the tower, trying to keep Dynamute at bay, Ashley.
Yeah, you can see he's splashing that area next to the ink-proof ramp, and he's just trying to keep out Dynamute, saying, hey guys, like, you're gonna have to not only get through here, but you have to now paint, you've got to ink that ground.
And Deadbeat goes and takes the lead, but they only get it by 1 point as Dynamute now facing a 40-second penalty, but then Deadbeat's gonna seize control of the splat zone, trying to keep Dynamute at bay. Hexen gonna drop down. Meanwhile, here comes Witt with that splasher. And you've got the Ink Storm.
The Ink Storm happening
That's
here.
trying to cover the area right there. And Splat Zone still up for grabs at this point. 22-38 advantage. Deadbeat still up for grabs at this point.
Splash.
Impressive.
Wow.
Double splat right there. That is huge as it's now 4-2 on the field. Dynamute gonna seize control of the Splat Zone, sitting on top of that tower. However, they have a stiff 28-second penalty to overcome. Here comes some Tenta missiles and the territory in the middle. That Splat Zone gonna be re-seized by Deadbeat. Frantic match that we have here, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. And Otobaro absolutely just going bananas right now. Inking, splatting, getting all over the place. He's all over the shop. It is incredible to watch him play. And you know what? He's not panicking. That's exactly how he's splatting all these people.
Otobaro normally averages 20 splats per match. You can see how an individual effort can turn the tide. 38-22. However, just 4 seconds left in that penalty for Dynamute. Slight lead for Deadbeat. However, Dynamute keeping that timer going down. 22-28. Dynamute trying to re-seize the lead. However, great defense by Deadbeat. They're able to retake the middle of the splat zone, and they're going to cut down into the penalty. 47 seconds left. 40-second penalty for Dynamute. Meanwhile, if you're Deadbeat, you just have to play some defense and keep Dynamute out of the zone. Otobaro going to take advantage of that one-on-one, but here comes the splashdown. Just going to get it by power with the splashdown. 30 seconds left. 22-25. Penalty going down for Deadbeat. And you've got Dynamute trying to
start taking
but the specials by Deadbeat really helping out right now, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. They have got to take control. Dynamute's got to take control back if they're thinking they're going to win this.
25-22. Dynamo, though, with a 40-second penalty. Can they retake control of the splat zone? 10 seconds left. This might be headed into overtime. We'll see. It's still up for grabs. First team to seize control. And now Dynamo in control with 34 seconds left. We're going to certainly go to overtime here.
Yes.
Now Deadbeat can take control of the splat zone. It's going to be over. They'll get the victory. 20 seconds left. Dynamute, they just need to hold on. We see the Tenta missiles. They lost control. Can Deadbeat seize control? And Deadbeat going to do a fine job in overtime, taking control of the splat zone. And we saw the specials. Well-timed use of those for Deadbeat here, Ashley.
So good, so well coordinated. I mean, they are obviously communicating super well, making sure that they're launching everything they need to launch right when it needs to go.
What a match. I mean, that was back and forth all the way down to the end.
I'm exhausted from that. Impressive.
We got more. We got more,
absolutely. So you saw Dynamute get out to the early lead, and they really tried to time that Ink Storm along with Dynamon hopping on top of the tower. But Deadbeat doing a fine job of making sure they never really seize control of that top of that tower, Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, you saw a lot of burst bombs, a lot of sprinklers going up there, just keeping anybody from getting up there and really establishing any kind of advantage for a particular amount of time.
Let's take a look at a couple replays from that absolutely exhilarating match between Deadbeat and Dynamute, where Deadbeat gets the advantage in the very first opening match in our grand finals. Here's Otobaro trying to get that zone covered. Gets the splat on power.
Boom,
midair. Splats in a row, midair on the splashdown. Hexen gonna get splatted by Otobaro. Otobaro gonna get another splat on power. And this was when Dynamute was getting set to make their push. However, Deadbeat didn't give up. Here's Witt using the slosher, just covering territory. Well-timed usage of the Tenta missiles. And then you saw the splat in midair by Tim. So Deadbeat doing everything you need to do right at the end to win this one.
Absolutely, and you notice he also threw a suction bomb up on the top there to get his opponent off of the high ground.
You got to clear the club sometime.
Yeah,
I mean, empty it out.
That splat when he was mid splashdown, I mean, if that thing lands, it paints, or it inks a big portion of that splat zone.
Yeah.
So that was absolutely incredible.
Very impressive by both teams. And as we get set for our next matchup, it's going to be tower control on Moray Tower. So we're going to see a lot more action as these teams get set to ride the tower. As we mentioned, grand finals, best of 7. Deadbeat representing USA taking on Dynamute from Japan. Dynamute championed over 900 teams in their regional qualifier. Splat Zone's first game, that goes to Deadbeat, so 1-0 advantage for them. Meanwhile, our next game will be tower control. And what have we learned from how the way these two teams play tower control about how important it is to make sure you have a path for the tower moving forward?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a lot of Power is going to probably be that support person, trying to make clear path, get people out of the way over on Dynamu's side. And then Dynamu, obviously, Dynamon is going to be riding that tower. We all know.
Absolutely right. And Eric, when you've got a player like Dynamon on the opposition that you're facing, that you know that loves to get on the tower, how much do you potentially change your strategy to try to make sure that he can't secure the tower and you keep him out of his comfort zone?
Yeah, I mean, as we said, it's all about cutting off those lanes of attack. So if they can do that, Dynamite can't get to the tower in the first place.
I predict we will be seeing a lot of Toxic Mist. I predict we will be seeing a lot of bombs. A lot of bombs.
In the orange, they're going to go with a blaster, a slosher, a charger, a roller. Meanwhile, Deadbeat in the purple, you've got the heavy splatling, 2 splatter shots, and a blaster. Those blasters, as we know, very popular in tower control mode. Early 99-0 advantage. That's not going to sit very long, but Dynamu hopping on the tower. One-on-one situation here. Tim going to get the advantage over Kakashino. Meanwhile, tower going to be reclaimed by Deadbeat. Deadbeat trying to get some points to their score. 88-100 advantage for Dynamu.
There they go. Yeah, you can see Deadbeat has Power on top. He's working that heavy splatling. He's going to try to clear a path, paint, get some paint down, help his teammates get in front of that tower.
However, Power getting splatted on the tower at that checkpoint, and that's what we talk about. The checkpoints really change the dynamic of tower control because you can no longer just ride the tower and sort of pivot behind that barrier.
And hide, yeah, and that's a key thing here that I am very excited about because I can't tell you how many times I watched the tower just ride away into the sunset without me, and I was like, wait, please come back.
Tim gonna hop off the tower, get the splat on Atsubato, try to make some room. Let's see if Deadbeat can be ready for the onslaught coming from Dynamu up top. Here comes the splashdown, and the tower is going to get to the first checkpoint, trying to clear it. That's going to be critical as far as helping Deadbeat make subsequent pushes, and that'll be clear. 50-88 advantage Deadbeat as they get set to move forward deeper into Dynamu territory.
They are pushing hard right now. You can see there are teammates jumping onto the tower. It's going to help that get that countdown down a little bit faster.
Power doing a fine job of backing off the tower, avoiding to get splatted. You can go ahead and give up control of the tower for a little bit. It's not going to reset as fast as the Rainmaker. It keeps you alive, keeps you special charged also.
Yeah, he's able to stop, but oh man, that was some really nice back alley dealings right there. That was a really nice splatting happening right there by Dynamo.
Yeah, no thank you card is going to be exchanged between both these teams as Dynamo going to start flicking some more ink on that wall, and you notice the vertical flick allows those rollers to climb walls so much better. Right now, 88-19 advantage. Deadbeat at this point. 2 checkpoints still remain for Dynamo, so they're facing quite the up tower battle here on Parade Tower. And so if you're Deadbeat, impressive splat right there by Atsubato with the pachink. If you're Deadbeat, how defensively minded should you be right now?
I mean, right now, all they have to do is just hold that tower. I mean, just keep it out of their zone, and they win. And so but it's 2.5 minutes, and anything can happen. Dynamo really, really working that roller, but getting caught up in Toxic Mist.
That Toxic Mist going to slow you down, take away your ink. However, Dynamo going to ride that tower. Dynamo at the first checkpoint. They've got a cavalcade of squids at that tower trying to get through that checkpoint. That's going to help them with some more additional pushes, and it is now 53-19. Dynamo trying to make their critical push in this match. Deadbeat trying to keep them at bay. 2 minutes left in this one. 2-2 on the field. Now a 3-2 advantage for Deadbeat.
Yeah, you can see Power's been trying to sort of keep this tower at bay by using that heavy splatling and doing a good job of it, but wow, Tim, just get up on that tower.
Tim with the splat on Walker Room. That's going to allow Deadbeat to gain control of the tower and just let that reset to the middle as 148. Now the clock becomes the friend of Deadbeat. They want that thing to tick down as fast as possible.
Look at all of this ink. There's ink everywhere. This is amazing. This is the level players seeing. There is literally battles to be found everywhere on this map.
It is hectic in the middle of this map. You've got both teams really at different levels right now trying to apply pressure. Nobody can really get that advantage at this point. It's been a bit of a stalemate the last 30 seconds. 125 left in this one. 19-29. Here comes a splashdown as Tim going to go ahead and get the splat, and that's going to help pave the way. Now look at what Tim's doing. Clearing some ink to give a path for the tower and Tim's teammates to make sure that they can support that tower and its push.
Yeah, able to push forward, also able to get out. That's a key thing. Once that tower goes beyond a certain point, you want to be able to get out of there if stuff starts getting a little heated.
1 minute left, 4-1 on the field, Dynamute. So you are all by your lonesome self on that tower right now. 56 seconds left. And if you're deadbeat, maybe start thinking about being a little defensive, keeping Dynamute at bay. Meanwhile, here goes Dynamute. They're going to go deep into deadbeat territory, get some orange ink there to try to make one more push as we are under a minute left. 4-3 on the field, but 3 specials for Dynamute.
Yeah, Dynamute absolutely has to be a little bit aggressive here. It's a risk, but it's also something that I think they're going to have to do to be able to beat the clock and get this overtime win.
You see Deadbeat throwing some toxic mist from afar that's going to drain the ink on the tower. Some pressure applied by Power with a critical splat on the tower. That's going to try to reset it at normal. Dynamute going to lose the tower. Here comes a splash down by Atubaru, though, to get a critical splat. Get a splat on Tim. It is now 4-2 on the field. This could be a moment of truth as that tower is now at the final checkpoint for Dynamute. Can they get through the checkpoint? 19:26. 8 seconds left. Hang in there with us, folks. 19:20. And the lead is going to go to Dynamute as they claim it the last second.
5 seconds left.
2 seconds left. And Dynamute with the last pivotal push. And you see the emotion from their team. They realize this was our last chance. We don't want to find ourselves in the 2-0 hole in the grand finals. And Dynamute doing a fine job of getting a critical double splat to close out that one.
Yeah, I mean, they really did exactly what we were talking about. I mean, they had to get aggressive at the end there. They had to ride on that tower. They had to move it as quickly as possible, get through that last checkpoint even, and then they were able to pull it out.
As we look at the replays of this one, just another incredible match that goes to the final second, and really Dynamute's ability to plow through that final checkpoint. Here they are right now, and you see the double splat that's going to be coming up right now. It's 3-2 on the field. They get through this checkpoint, and then the pressure being applied by Deadbeat, but Dynamute able to use that slosher to get some ink to go up top, and that's all they needed to do to close out the victory, to make it 1-1 in the grand finals. And the best part is, that means we get more Splatoon. That's
right. It was a really great choice by Atubaru to go up the ramp and actually kind of do a little forward damage and take out Wix. Wick was standing there with that splasher. It would have been so bad for Dynamute, but he was able to get up there and kind of make something happen, get that splat, and help his team to victory.
Yeah, you saw Deadbeat at about the 1 minute mark. They kind of switched their attitude, and they're like, okay, so we're in the lead. Well, I'm just going to kind of play defensively. That may have been a mistake considering, you know, maybe they backed off a little too much and gave Dynamute a little too much room to
you give them an inch, they squid all over.
Yes, well, we talk about in Turf War how the final minute, the final 30 seconds especially, you can't afford to get splatted. Well, that carries over to all these other game modes. And you look at not being able to stay alive and that critical double splat by Dynamute late in the game, that gives them the advantage. And so you can ride that tower deep into Deadbeat territory.
Yeah, we're about to watch some Turf War. And the thing is those fundamentals in Turf War carry over to every single game mode in a very deep way.
Previous matchup between Deadbeat and Dynamute in Turf War, Dynamute found themselves with a 51.9 to 42.9 victory. So we've seen Deadbeat sort of get their footing back again. They struggled a little bit their first 2 matches in Turf War. Can they bounce back and provide some resistance for Dynamute, who was flawless in the round-robin Turf War portion?
I think, you know, maybe Deadbeat's coming in with a little momentum after that. Yeah, maybe I think they feel really good about Tower. And I hope that with Turf War, they can say, okay, we have to reset. Let's get some good strategies. Let's counter-attack in ways that are appropriate.
Turf War on Humpback Pump Track. Certainly an exciting map. Wide open area in the middle. We know we have the mound in the middle as both teams get set. Let's go ahead. Deadbeat in the purple, Dynamute in the neon greenish yellow. Deadbeat in the purple, they're going to go with the heavy splatling, 2 splatter slots, and a slosher. Meanwhile, Dynamute going to go with splat dualies, a slosher, a charger, and a roller, as both teams really getting a chance to ink their halves of the map. We see Deadbeat kind of going to the perimeter here, Ashley. Meanwhile, Dynamute making a push for the middle mound.
Yeah, I think these teams have different strategies. Obviously, Deadbeat wanting to get that track covered in purple so that they're able to kind of flank their opponents, get in there, and make something happen. Atubaru, I'm really curious to see what he does with these dualies.
Ooh, power and Takashino going to trade splats right there. You saw Power do a fine job of just avoiding that onslaught of slosher behind that wall. However, it just wasn't enough. 4-4 on the field, 2-14 right now. Pretty even match at this point. Deadbeat with a slight advantage of ink coverage on the map. As you can see, they're trying to get a push into Dynamute territory. And if you're Deadbeat, we saw them sometimes time that last push a little too late, it seemed like. We don't know whether that was by choice or accident. I'm sure they're going to look to be much more aggressive earlier on.
Yeah, they're obviously playing a lot more aggressive than they did in their round-robin turf wars. They are getting into enemy territory. They are rushing down their opponents, but, you know, they got to win those one-on-ones.
Hexen going to get splat by Kakashino once again. Kakashino just waiting around in the ink, going to try and find some prey. Going to back up, get the splat on Wit right now, and that's going to start to turn the tide of momentum as we see more yellow ink covered. However, Power with that heavy splat link going to get the splat on Kakashino. 1.5 minutes left, 4-3 advantage, Deadbeat on the field, and really anybody's match still at this point. You're out.
Yeah, and I mean, Power, oh, wow, he barely pulled off that heavy splat link before he got splatted himself. Now we're going to see the wonderful and painful Stingray. Oh!
Power going to get splat by Wakaroon, and Power so impressive you could give him a raindrop and he could probably splat somebody. Meanwhile, 1 minute left, 4-3 advantage, Deadbeat looking at the map. Deadbeat doing a fine job of pushing Dynamo back. However, still plenty of time left in this one. You see a special ready to go for Deadbeat. That purple ink covering up more than half of the map right now. And you see Deadbeat doing a fine job of getting the outer BMX track, a pump back pump track also.
Absolutely, they are doing their best to cut off any avenue for Dynamo to get behind them, to take them by surprise. They're just not allowing that to happen.
But here comes Dynamo starting to make a push to the middle and through the bottom part of the map as you look at the top-down version here. And Dynamon going to start flicking some ink with that Dynamo roller. However, using some protection from Wit. Wit trying to get the slosher on. You see the splat dualies and the maneuverability. Dynamon backing up, feeling a little pressure from Deadbeat in that purple ink. 18 seconds left. 4-3 on the field. 4-2. No. This is the chance for Deadbeat to make a push. They've got a 4-2 advantage and 3 specials ready to go. 10 seconds left. Can they make that final push to keep Dynamo at bay? 6 seconds left. 4-2. Here come the specials, we are sure. 3-3 at this point, and this is going to be much closer, I think, because we see a couple splatterings of yellow ink at the tail end.
Yeah. This is going to be a close one, I think. I see a lot of purple, though.
I see a lot of purple, and yes, the Judd agrees. 55.2 to 38, and so Deadbeat, which struggled initially in Turf War, hands Dynamo their first Turf War loss of the afternoon. And really, we see these players, and Eric, we talked about how they will adapt to the game as they continue to play it more, and that's what we're seeing with Deadbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that they looked like a different team from the initial round robin.
Yeah.
I mean, they were so aggressive, just splatting any chance they got, and were able to control all the turf.
Yeah, there was no hesitation happening in this round of Turf War. They went out there and they said, we have a job to do and we are going to do it. And they did a really nice job. I was watching on the overhead map. They did a really nice job of throwing bombs and getting ink put down behind their opponents so that they had no means of escape. And that's always an excellent strategy when you're having those one-on-ones.
We should also mention in the finals, the team that loses a match will have selection of the next map. So there's some strategy that goes into that. So that humpback pump track selection was made by Deadbeat after they lost tower control. So you wonder what these teams are factoring in as they look at not only the game mode, but how it applies to the map.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, after practicing, these teams have preferences of which maps they feel the strongest in. Of course, depending on the game mode, maybe you feel better about a certain map in Rainmaker, or maybe you feel better about another map in Tower Control. So I kind of love that they picked Muscle Forge Fitness for this one.
Muscle Forge Fitness for our next round of Rainmaker. Right now, Deadbeat with a 2-1 advantage in this best-of-7 grand finals matchup of the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. A victory here, it's not a must-win, but it would go a very far way for Deadbeat as far as giving some distance between them and Dynamo and putting some pressure on Dynamo. So we look at Rainmaker. What are some of the things that you think Deadbeat will try to focus in on this match as they had success last time in Rainmaker?
I think they're going to have to absolutely neutralize Autobaru, because he's going to be out there hunting.
He's a hunter, for sure.
He's a hunter. He's going to be out there just hunting for anybody who's accidentally been led astray from the flock to pick them off. And I think this is going to be a really great
Let's make it rain on Muscle Forge Fitness. Let's go ahead and get to your teams right now. Deadbeat in the green. They're going to go with the heavy splatling, 2 splatter shots, and a slosher. Meanwhile, Dynamo in the purple. You've got a roller, charger, slosher, and splatter shot pro. Shield initially going to be bursted by Deadbeat. However, that Rainmaker still up for grabs. Nobody claiming that 4-2 advantage, 3-2 advantage. Dynamo on the field as they grab the Rainmaker. They're going to push it to 85 before it gets seized. And right now, we already see both teams being very aggressive, wasting no time trying to get to that Rainmaker.
That's right. You're going to see Power hanging back with that heavy splatling and just doing everything in his power to target the Rainmaker. He did that with Autobaru. Autobaru picked up the Rainmaker. He was like, no, my friend. No, not today.
85-0 advantage right now. Looks like that Rainmaker's going to get reset right now. No, it's going to be grabbed by Dynamo as they push it to a 63-0 lead at this point. 4-3 advantage on the map right now for Deadbeat. Plenty of time left in this one. 4:07 going, and right now, Deadbeat unable to really get a push outside of their half of the map here, Ashley.
Yeah, this is interesting because you can see Hexen got a little bit too far ahead there into enemy territory and ended up getting splatted by the Rainmaker.
However, Tim gonna go to some uncharted territory. No ink over there to take a 46-63 advantage for Deadbeat before Dynamo gets the splat. And now you got a little bit more pressure applied by Deadbeat as there's all sorts of splatting going on. Dynamon with that Dynamo roller, as we said, trying to burst the shield. No collateral damage there. 63-31 advantage, and we see Dynamon just reset the Rainmaker, move it to the middle, and you like that move there, Ashley.
Good, that was a good choice. Obviously, you want to get it back to the middle as quickly as possible, and walking it there, or even swimming there is not the best idea. Especially
since by the time you reset, get back into action, that shield probably will not have been bursted yet. 3 minutes left in this one, 4-4 on the field, 2 specials for Dynamo, 31-63 advantage for Deadbeat. Rainmaker up for grabs in the middle, both teams just trying to feel each other out, find that way they can get some ink coverage so they can find a great route and an escort to get to the other side of this map.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of these teams at this high-level play don't just immediately grab the Rainmaker. That's always the thing you always want to do. It's your instinct. You want to just grab it, but no, you got to hold off.
Tim is bringing his lunch pail and hard hat and putting in work. Stops the tent of missiles from going. Gets another splat there, so 2 critical splats for Tim. And now the Rainmaker, Tim, is starting to take over this match, 31-63. However, Witt going to get stopped by Atubado, 63-31. Advantage Deadbeat at this point. Atubado just holding back, trying to maintain some leverage on Deadbeat. Meanwhile, Deadbeat being very aggressive and getting Dynamo pushed on their heels.
I have to say, there is a lot of green on this map, and Deadbeat is doing a really great job of creating lanes, creating problems for Dynamo, and it's obviously going very well for them.
How about Dynamon shooting the Rainmaker behind a wall of coverage and getting the splat as it's now 63-31. Getting to the 2-minute marks. Things are going to start to get a little bit more inky here. Dynamo, they've got the early deficit going on right now, but still plenty of time left. And right now, we see Power trying to find some position, trying to hold that back line, provide some cover and a route for his team. Meanwhile, Dynamu's still kind of stuck in that corner because of where the Rainmaker's at, Ashley.
Yeah, well, Witt and Hexen are doing a really good job of throwing bombs out and keeping anybody from Dynamo from getting to the Rainmaker. So, fortunately, Dynamo's able to pick it up at this point, but there is a lot of green on the ground. They're going to have to make some serious gains in the last minute and a half of this game.
Dynamon with the Rainmaker, though, moving across the grates at this point, trying to get a couple critical splats, and this is going to start to move their score much quicker. Oh, we've got 31-47, but a critical splat. Great defense by Deadbeat. You see Hexen with the splatter shot, able to prevent Dynamo from advancing anymore, but don't you hold your breath quite yet, because Dynamo grabs it again. They're trying to push it, however, Deadbeat retreating them as we're just to a minute left. 4-1 advantage on the field for Deadbeat as they secure it.
Hexen doing an absolutely fantastic job of hiding underneath this grate over here and taking everybody out as they walk across it because they can't swim, they can't hide, there's nowhere for them to go.
Under a minute left, Tim with the Rainmaker right now, and when you've got the lead, we saw them be a little hesitant in tower control. What do you have to do if you're Tim? You try to get some help as we see the splat by Atubado. 40 seconds left and you have the lead.
I mean, you gotta have a teammate with you, and I think that's such a key thing. It'll be interesting to see if Atubado can win this one-on-one with Power. He does.
Critical one-on-one victory for Atubado. Can he get another splat? But no, Witt providing some support right there. 47-31. 27 seconds left. 3-3 on the field. Deadbeat with the victory here proves a 3-1. Dynamo trying to tie things up in this grand finals right now. Witt putting some pressure on Wakaroon, but no, Wakaroon getting some help right now. Wakaroon trying to push this. They need one more push, Dynamo here. They don't have much time left on the clock. Here comes the final push. Expect the match to come down to this right here. Trying to get the push. Getting flanked from behind. Impressive splat by Tim. 3 seconds left. Is that going to do it? And that'll do it. Deadbeat able to recover and flank and get behind the Rainmaker quick enough in that match before Dynamo can make one more final push, Ashley.
One of the things Deadbeat did really well is, again, that fundamental turf war mentality of put down ink. They had so much green on that map at one point. It was like, if we pick up the Rainmaker, that's a free road to a win. So to be able to put down that much ink it's just so helpful, and also keeping your opponents away.
Yeah, that mechanic helps. Like, even if you're not near the action, you're not near the Rainmaker, there's always something you can do to help your team, even if you're on the other side of the map, is making lanes toward the enemy goal.
We talk about the teamwork that's required, but sometimes individual efforts can turn the tide of any match, and Tim in this previous match went on a rampage for a short little while that really helped turn things. At this point, it's 63-31. Deadbeat was trying to get a little bit more momentum, but Tim with the splat on Atubaro, going to avoid the ink coming from Dynamon.
Great bombs.
Another splat by Deadbeat on Dynamon, and then going to drop down and get the splat on Kakashino. That's going to give another advantage, and then 7 seconds left. You see Wakaruun gets splatted from behind by Tim. And Tim not only playing some great offense, but great defense also, Ashley.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're on defense, the best thing for you to do is to have spatial awareness. And I think that is such a key component, especially in these sort of other modes where obviously the main objective is not turf war, where you're going around and you're saying, okay, like, I need to know where the Rainmaker is. I need to know where my opponents are. I need to know where my teammates are so I can go help them. There's so much spatial awareness involved, and you can see both of these teams doing a really good job of it, but I think Deadbeat a little bit better last round.
3-1 advantage for Deadbeat in these grand finals. They win one more match. They're the winners of the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. However, Dynamo has a few things to say about that. Dynamo, it's tower control. For our Game 5, they select Moray Towers. They were victorious on it previously. However, we saw in that previous match, Deadbeat essentially had that game won until late in this one.
Very late.
What does Deadbeat learn from their loss last time? As we've said before, we've heard from Penguin that he loves to learn from watching his own mistakes. What do they do differently in this match?
I mean, I think that they have to really make an effort to have, I think Power's going to have to really push on making sure that he is using that heavy, if he's using that heavy splatling, I think that he's going to have to really do a great job of coverage.
Game 5 of the grand finals. Tower control, Moray Towers. Deadbeat in the blue. One more victory, and they will be your champions. Meanwhile, Dynamo inking for their lives. Dynamo going with the blaster, slosher, charger, roller. Meanwhile, Deadbeat going with the heavy splatling, 2 splatter shots, and a blaster as Kakashino early on. Dynamo in the yellow, as we mentioned. Deadbeat in the blue. Kakashino going to ride that tower. Early advantage right now, 90 to 100. Hopping off the tower, going to lose the one-on-one to Tim, though, as Tim gets the impressive splat. The tower's going to go ahead and reset. And as we mentioned, it's a little bit easier to get up the towers and more mobility in Moray Towers.
Yeah, this is a huge thing for anybody who's ever been splatted in Moray Towers by a charger. That's going to be a really handy change. It's the 2-2.
Tim once again helping out his team, hopping on the tower as Deadbeat takes the lead as they approach the very first checkpoint. Here comes the splashdown, going to try and clear out some traffic, but no. Kakashino going to get that splat with the slosher. Meanwhile, Stingray putting some pressure, but Hexen trying to get into Dynamo territory, feels some flank pressure behind him, going to get the splat on Dynamon, and that is huge as Deadbeat going to ride this to the first checkpoint. They've got a 4-3 advantage. They've got to lock it down here at this point. Going to feel some pressure. They get the critical splat on Atubaro.
That was a huge splat.
And Deadbeat doing a fine job of holding off the pushes from Dynamo as they advance the tower.
Absolutely. They'll easily pass this checkpoint. They were able to take out a lot of Dynamo, and now you can see they're coming down one by one. Never a good idea.
One more checkpoint stands between Deadbeat and victory. 3-1 in the best of 7. One more victory would do it. However, a double splat by the splat bomb as Kakashino doing in some work right there. That's going to be some great defense. However, Deadbeat with a huge 90-6 lead. They can do it. They're just flirting with victory right now, but you've got a pair of Dynamo on the tower. Dynamon says, I'm not ready to end this Splatoon World Inkling Invitational yet. I got some more things to say here. 90-6. You see the 4-2 advantage on the field for Deadbeat right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, oh man, Tim is working he's working overtime right now, trying to take out everybody. Takes out Dynamon. That was a huge, huge splat.
Deadbeat hopping back on the tower again. They see how close victory could be to them. Meanwhile, Dynamo, they are still fighting for survival in this tournament. We see the toxic mist. That'll slow down some of the momentum for Deadbeat. We see a super jump going to be on the tower right now, probably going to get keyed in there. Tim able to safely land at this point. Meanwhile, Atubaro being contained by 2 members of Deadbeat at the top. Tim going to retreat right here. Meanwhile, tower being reclaimed by Dynamo. And you see how important this critical push by Deadbeat has been. And they're not putting their foot off the pedal right now.
No way. They're being very aggressive. They want this. They can taste those super sea snails.
Kakashino going with the Tenta missiles. That's certainly going to help right there. However, tower's going to get paused for a moment. You've got 2:15 left, a 6-90 lead for Deadbeat. Remember, one more victory, and they are your champions of the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. 2 minutes left, tower in the middle, still up for grabs. And is this the point where Deadbeat realizes their folly from the previous match and looks to push it even more?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you can see Power really putting in the work right now, jumping up and down, getting the great splat right there of Dynamon. He's up there just getting it done.
Tim with the flank on Kakashino, going to start riding the tower. It is a 3-3 tie on the field. Couple of specials, 3-2 on the field, 2 specials also for Deadbeat. Can they continue to push that tower? They're hopping off momentarily. Meanwhile, you see Dynamute just being patient, waiting for the tower. We're at 1:30. Still enough time, but you're going to start limiting the amount of pushes you have. If you're Deadbeat, you've got to stay aggressive still here after.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened before. I mean, this is they have 6. There's only defense to be played, but anything can happen in the last minute of this match.
Dynamon trying to push into Deadbeat territory. Meanwhile, Dynamute going to hop on the tower. Dynamon got that Stingray ready to go, looking to try to get a couple critical splats. This is where Dynamute clutched victory away from the grasp of Deadbeat last time. Can they do it again? They're at the first checkpoint. 1 minute left. It's going to most likely have to go into overtime if Dynamute wants to get that victory. 58 seconds left. They're trying to push it past the point. They survive as Rockaroon. It's a 3-3 equal footing on the field. 3-2 advantage though. Rockaroon trying to get a critical splat on Wit. Wit ducking behind the counter. However, tower lost. They didn't hop on it. 44 seconds. 6-53. One more checkpoint remaining for Dynamute. If they win, they continue to keep this grand finals going on. If Deadbeat is victorious, it's over. 4-2 advantage on the field for Deadbeat. And actually, this is where Deadbeat has to make that final championship push.
They absolutely have to push really hard right now. All of these respawns are going to be coming into the field. Kakashino is a force to be reckoned with a slosher. You do not want to be in his face.
This could be the final 18 seconds of our tournament. 6-41 lead for Deadbeat. You see Deadbeat pushing deep into Dynamute territory. However, that splashdown will be negated. 10 seconds left. Can Dynamute get on the tower to force overtime? Wit's on the tower. 5 more seconds from the Splatoon Sterling Squid. If Deadbeat can hold it.
Dynamute's on the tower.
Dynamute's going to hop on top. We're into overtime. It just needs one more Deadbeat to hop on top. Meanwhile, Dynamute, they can still claim victory and push us into another mode. And they're looking strong. They have one more checkpoint to get to. Deadbeat.
Everybody's jumping onto this tower right now.
Everyone's jumping on the tower, as you said. Wit trying to get a couple splats. It's got us in this checkpoint. Triple splat! Sound the air horn! Deadbeat! And they couldn't have done it in more dramatic fashion. Unbelievable performance. 2 teams, the absolute best in the world, but you see Deadbeat able to survive the final push that Dynamute was trying to put on. And you look at Dynamute, just how impressive they were the entire day. You see the skill from all of their players, and just an absolutely incredible match here, Ashley.
Unbelievable.
Ink, used in ancient cultures to write sacred texts. It drips. Sometimes it drops. Early monks used it to create quiet masterpieces. Gutenberg pressed it. And today, we use ink to determine the winner of the Splatoon 2 World Championship, where 4 teams come together to compete for the coveted Sterling Squid. Representing Japan are the GG Boys. Dynamon returns with his new team after splatting out over 800 teams in Japan and is now looking to bring that Sterling Squid home.
I am Dynamon.
Etona, Taich, Yamamichi.
We are GG Boys.
And representing Europe is Backsquids. The winners of the Splatoon European Championship, this German team brings a fresh name and team spirit aplenty as they take on the rest of the world. Hey, you're supposed to smile here.
He's smiling. Hi, I'm Dean. I'm Echo. I'm Watson. I'm Kaito. And I'm Magic K. Rose. And we are the Backsquids.
Now that we've met our teams, it's time to splat!
Over 1,500 teams in regional qualifiers. We're down to our final 2, so the bracket's pretty simple at this point. You have the GG Boys from Japan taking on the Backsquids from Europe. The winner of this best of 7 will be crowned the champions of the Splatoon 2 World Championship. And 9, let's take a closer look at the back squids from Europe as far as what they were able to accomplish yesterday to find themselves here in the finals.
Well, anytime you go up against Set to Destroy X, you know you're going to have to deal with intense frontline pressure. The backliners that they ran, you see here on the sniper, that is Echo, and of course, Majin using that rapid blaster. It's so important that you're able to control the pressure. You see some great snipes right there, and the opponent has to deal with that. They can't keep running into the wall. Sometimes they do. They took advantage, and of course, Watson right here. Yesterday's human highlight reel. Seemed like every time there was a big play, he found himself in the middle.
And it was exciting because in that semifinal against Set to Destroy X, we got to the 5th game, and it was 2 points on tower control that separated either one of these teams from making it to the finals.
And on top of that, maybe the biggest pop-off that I've ever seen. The chairs were flying, headphones were flying. You can see it right here. Poor Kaito almost gets knocked down right here, has to get caught up. We have our people there in the back helping them stay up. But that's the raw emotion that you want to see. And if you thought that was big, if they pull off this win today, watch out.
And going up against them will be the GG boys from Japan. Ashley, they overcame over 800 teams in their regional qualifier. What did we see from them yesterday, their undefeated route here to the finals?
I mean, yesterday we saw a lot of GGs. I mean, that is what they are known for, and that is what they brought to this tournament. Yamamichi out in that front line alongside Taiji, alongside Taiji was absolutely indestructible. I mean, Yamamichi by himself, it's like having 2 separate players for each one of those dualies, and you know, nobody could stop him. And so I think today, if Backsquids wants to get some work done, they're gonna have to figure out how to neutralize Yamamichi.
And with Dynamon also, we saw him switch between that Dynamo roller and also the heavy Splatling, so very versatile from their backline player.
Really great job of giving cover, making sure that his frontliners were able to do their jobs.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the route that we will have for our championship. It's a best of 7. We'll be exploring each game mode except Turf War. We already covered that. So let's start with Splat Zones, followed by Tower Control, Clam Blitz, Rainmaker, and then if necessary, Game 5, we'll go back to Splat Zones, some more Tower Control, Game 6. I think everybody here would love to see 7 games. That would be concluded with Rainmaker. And then you look at the basic principles of Splat Zone, and with these teams, we obviously know it's a very easy goal. It's a matter of just getting ink in the zone and controlling it. But 9, oftentimes, it's really about making sure you can secure the zone and then get that push as you look at the rules over Splat Zones.
And there kind of is a flow to it, an ebb and flow, if you will. Whenever you have the zone, you know your opponent is going to build up their specials and use that to push back in. It's all about saving your specials for that moment and using that to kind of thrust aside that initial push and keep control of that zone.
And Ashley, a lot of times it's making sure that you are making those calculated pushes. Like 9 said, you want to make sure you've got a numbers advantage and some specials ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and of course, you always want to keep your eye on the clock, because at some point, you know, that music's going to kick in, and if it's close, you're going to want to get in there and really manage your specials as tightly as you can. And so communication is so key.
You talk about that. Communication not only is it important in relationships and life, but also when it comes to team play in Splatoon here, 9. And tell us a little bit more about these special communication devices these teams are using.
Well, they are special communication devices tailored specifically for this event. You saw it in the early video. There are some sick decals on the side of it. And like you said, there's only 4 people out here. They all need to be informed. If 2 of you go down, that's half your team. You're not going to get anything done.
All right, well, looks like our players are in the lobby right now getting set. And Ashley, just a reminder, they only get the main abilities with their clothing and decor. You don't get those sub-abilities, so that's going to change some of the things these teams do as they get set for Splat Zones.
That's right. You're not going to see a 12 stack of swim speed today. So they're going to have to be a little more discerning, a little more judicious on what kind of loadouts they have. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the weapon loadout is. But 9, what do you think everybody should be choosing in the way of? I mean, yes, we saw a lot of rapid blasters. I mean, I think that's the order of the day. But what else besides that do you think we're going to see?
Well, a healthy dosage of rapid blasters, a healthy dosage of inkjet. If you can use either one of those things, one weapon actually is both of those things, the rapid blaster deco. So best of both worlds. But I think these teams, especially on this first map, Splat Zone's Walleye Warehouse, are going to use some ink armor. We didn't see it as much, but I know the NZAP a very popular pick here because it's so easy to get locked out.
Well, you mentioned the stage that will be on Walleye Warehouse, and Ashley, what do you notice about this one when it comes to Splat Zones?
I mean, I love Walleye Warehouse because there's so many ways to get into the center of the map, and a couple of them are ink-proof, right? So you have some grates that you can walk on. You don't have to worry about getting locked out of that lane. So I think that's going to be the most exciting part.
Well, let's go with the signature. Let's get it cracking. Game one of these grand finals. The GG boys from Japan in the orange taking on the back squids from Europe in the purple. And let's look at this loadout here. 9, any surprises?
Well, we do see that NZAP 85, a weapon that's kind of fallen out of favor recently, but like we mentioned earlier, very popular there for the ink armor, although already Yamamichi going down. This is a great opening for the back squids.
Kaito getting the splat right there. 430 in this one. Early advantage right now for the back squids. 83 to 100 as that score continues to drop for the back squids of Europe. They've got a 4-3 advantage on the map, and Ashley, they wasted no time at claiming that splat zone.
No time at all, and Watson is doing exactly what I said they needed to do, which is neutralizing Yamamichi before he can even get close to anyone else on the team.
Echo with the Stingray, another Stingray being deployed by Dynamon, is Stingray on Stingray. And we have the GG boys seizing control of the zone, putting that 38-second penalty on the back squids. 9.
Yeah, and it was great that Dynamon was able to not go down in that situation. A trade is not what they wanted because they did not have as much pressure in the middle. It allowed them to continue to put pressure down with that Stingray, although it does look like it switched all the way back.
Back squids reclaiming control of the zone. 51-87 as they cut into that penalty. Kaito with another splat on Yamamichi. 4-3 on the field, 4-2, and you start to see the forces for the back squids here actually push forward and try to keep the GG boys at bay.
Yeah, I really like seeing what Echo's doing here with the splat lane. He is literally keeping everyone out of this lane that Dynamon is trying to put some ink down on so that they can get around and try to flank.
Back squids looking to make a statement in game one against the GG boys, but here come the boys. They're back in town and they've got control of the zone at this point. And 9, you look at Yamamichi on that inkjet, pairing it with the ink storm. Beautiful use of both specials.
Absolutely, and you know, Yamamichi at the beginning of this match kind of got caught out by himself, maybe a little bit too aggressive. I like that he didn't go in too deep with that. He's applying pressure here, but he's not too far from the rest of his team.
Yamamichi dodging and rolling, trying to super jump back. Here comes an inkjet and a baller being deployed for the back squids. Zone is at neutral at this point. Reclaimed by the GG boys. They're now just 18 seconds away from tying this game up. We've got a 3-1 advantage on the field for the GG boys as another back squid goes down, and it looks like Yamamichi has found his rhythm, and now it's the GG boys putting pressure on the back squids, Ashley, as Japan takes the lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they do best. They are so good at making sure that if there is any tiny bit of taking a step too close to their base, they can take advantage of that and really convert.
And that'll do it. The GG boys turning the tide of momentum against the back squids, locking things down and getting the victory in splat zones. And 9, we really seem to see the GG boys settle down and really play some excellent play, and they stayed alive and put the pressure on the back squids.
And at the beginning, they were getting separated. They were starting to get a little bit staggered. We saw almost immediately Yamamichi went down, but once they got locked out that second time, they grouped back up. They used Dynamon's Stingray to push back in. Even if you don't splat somebody with it, sometimes the damage is enough so that someone else can come in and get that assist. And at that point, it was all about the lockout.
But also the back squids coming out aggressively, Ashley. They were able to secure the zone, hold it for the majority of the match early on, but then you saw the GG boys take control of it. And splat zones is a hard mode to come from behind on, but we saw the GG boys able to accomplish that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is at the very beginning, I think you were right. I think Yamamichi maybe got out there by himself and was maybe a little bit exposed and was able to get splatted a couple of times by the back squids. But then once they all kind of found their rhythm, got together, communicated with each other, again, like I think we started seeing a very team-oriented rush at certain points where Dynamon was giving them lots of cover with that Stingray, and I think that led them to victory.
GG boys take the first game in this championship final, best of 7. Up next, we have tower control. So let's take a look at the basic layout of that for those of us that haven't had a chance to play this glorious game mode. Ride the tower into the enemy's base. Yes, it's a tower in tower control. Surprise, surprise. The tower moves automatically on a set path once a player is on it. And if the battle ends without the tower reaching the goal, the team with the lowest goal distance wins. But we talked about this yesterday, 9. Those checkpoints are going to be different in every single stage. strategy. Being able to manage and get past those checkpoints oftentimes makes the difference.
And if you do have a Stingray, you're going to use it. If you're not tired of Stingray, you will be by the end of this mode. Stingray is so powerful for clearing off that tower, especially if it gets stuck at that checkpoint. You know exactly where everybody's going to be. Just clean it up, let your frontliners go in. It's a nice back and forth.
And what we saw yesterday with the GG boys, Ashley, we saw Dynamon using that heavy splatling on the tower, and instead of using the charger, you look at the ability of the heavy splatling. What advantages does it have?
I think for Dynamon, I mean, he's a roller guy, right? So I think we see a lot of the heavy splatling as opposed to a charger, just because, one, you can put down so much ink on the ground and give lanes to your teammates, where with a charger, you're maybe putting down a little bit less ink, you have to be a little more precise, and also you leave yourself open to people coming around and flanking you from behind.
Nine, let's chat about some sub-weapons here. What do you think plays well in tower control?
Well, if you've got a bomb, now's the time to use it. Pretty much all of them great, but if you have some toxic mist, you know, it's not a bad idea. The people who are on the tower, they're going to be trying to fire back at you. You throw that toxic mist on there, suddenly they don't have those resources, makes it a little easier to stop that push.
We'll be doing tower control on Wahoo World. The players changing their abilities, changing their weapons at this point, but you look at Wahoo World, a level that just dropped recently like it's hot, and your thoughts on what we're going to see from the stage here, Ashley?
I am really looking forward to how these teams handle tower control, because this map is so new. It's the newest map, and they've had the least amount of time to work on it and to really figure out what their strategy is. So we might see some improvisation here as we kind of get closer to the end checkpoints.
Let's get set for game number 2 in this grand final of the Splatoon 2 World Championship. A wonderful crowd here at the Belasco Theater on hand to see who will be crowned the champions of the world. You're gonna have the GG boys of Japan in the blue, the back squids of Europe in the green. Let's take an initial look at the loadouts and please guide us through this, Professor Nine.
Well, this was the money comp for them last time. We saw that incredible Game 5 tower control match. It was Echo on the Charger and Majin on this Rapid Blaster Pro. Echo, like you said, Ashley, a big responsibility, needs to get some picks early on to help start this push.
Dynamon not wasting any time getting control of that Stingray. A splat for splat, but already a 3-1 advantage on the field for the GG boys, but the tower gets stuck right there. Taiji trying to make some ground, ink some turf right now. Going to use that inkjet, trying to put some pressure on the spawn of the back squids, but now it's 4-4 on the field. Tower reclaimed by the GG boys as Dynamon trying to lock things down like a padlock, Ashley.
Yeah, I think that was really smart by Taiji to get forward, try to keep people away from getting toward the tower so that they could put some numbers up on the map.
At 9, we see Kaito at work at this point. What have we seen from the back squids in their strategy early on?
Well, actually, things were looking kind of bad for them. Yamamichi was taking the attention of 2 people, but Kaito was actually able to almost single-handedly push in and get the splats necessary to stop that. We do see the Stingray here. This push might be a little bit delayed, but their defense has been strong so far.
You saw Kaito with the inkjet and a couple of GG boys swimming out of harm's way, and now Watson once again with that slosher. We know a few teams yesterday were seeing buckets in their nightmares thanks to Watson and what he was able to do. And now the back squids have control of the tower. They start to improve their scores. Watson continues to provide some support. Yamamichi, though, gets the splat on Watson, trying to put some pressure on the tower. And that's how you play some defense right there, 9.
How many times are we going to say this guy's name? Yamamichi found a way behind all of that pressure, took out the defender of the tower, and it gave his team the chance to come back in and clean it up. What a play.
Etana using the Ink Storm, Inkjet by Yamamichi being deployed as well, too. So you've got a couple of specials in use right now for the GG boys, and a couple more in the tank. Keep an eye out for the Stingray. Oh, Yamamichi putting on a clinic for right now until Watson's able to stop things. Ken Watson, that baller against the Inkjet, taking on 2 GG boys. Oh, look at the splat as Taiji goes down, but enough of an effort there by the back squids, Ashley, to try and slow the progress of GG boys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gosh, Watson is just such a menace. I've never been more terrified of somebody carrying a bucket in my whole life, and honestly, it's working for him because Echo is on the tower and they are riding it in.
68-75, tightly contested match here. No team has cleared the first checkpoint. Oh, Echo! Unbelievable one shot right there, 9, as the Stingray able to pay back some retribution for the GG boys.
Dynamon is one of the biggest buzz kills I've ever seen. They had all the momentum going there, but he did not go down. They do lose the lead, but they're in a much better spot to defend this. Though the super jumps are back, this is getting dangerous.
The back squids putting some pressure on the GG boys, but the GG boys climb back up on top of the tower. 4-2 on the map, 2 minutes left. 14-point advantage for the Back Squids of Europe. Can they swim their way into a victory in game 2? Taiji with a couple of forces right now. 4-3 on the field. They're looking for a big numbers advantage. Inkjet ready to go. Oh, but gets splatted just in time as the Back Squids continue to provide some defense. We're at a minute 45 here, 9. You've got Dynamon on the tower. What do the GG boys need here to get this push to the checkpoint?
Well, they need this to be a big Stingray, and Dynamon once again winning the battle of the Stingrays here. He's not going to be able to get on the tower at the time, so they are going to lose it, but he's going to be able to get some super jumps here. You see both Taiji and Etana jumping in. They're going to need to play very clean right now.
Dynamon picking off members of the Back Squids like he's picking berries right now. 1-0 advantage for our best of 7. The GG boys trying to tie things up here in tower control. You see the baller being deployed by Watson. Can we see that famed defense of the Back Squids? But no, critical splat by the GG boys. 1 minute left, Inkstorm being deployed, and you have an Inkjet ready. But Ashley, Back Squids getting on the tower. Here's where they have to make this defensive stance.
They have to make a defensive stance, but Taiji is making it very, very hard for them right now. He's splatted 2 people. He's on his way back to the tower, dropping bombs immediately, protect himself. You got people from other GG boys jumping into the tower. It is getting crazy out there.
68-54, GG boys on the tower. At 9, you look at the clock, and right now it's not on the side of the GG boys. This has to be most likely their final push of the match.
It's going to be. He's got to be able to find this Stingray right here. Dynamo not going to get the better of it here. Taiji was there with the assist, but that allowed Watson to sneak back in. Can Yamamichi stay alive long enough here? Watson finally goes down, but because of the geography of this level, it's going to be difficult as a flank comes in.
4-3, GG boys and Yamamichi's got the Inkjet ready. They've got to get past the first checkpoint. 10 seconds left. Can they force overtime? 2 more GG boys remain. Oh, but Kaito picks him out of the sky and pops the Inkjet like a balloon. But we're in overtime. GG boys lose the tower, and the Back Squids come from behind. About 2 minutes left in that match. They turn the tide. And 9, how about the defense? That's what got them into these grand finals yesterday. They show that tower control defense. You see the passion, the communication, the Back Squids getting it done.
And you can't say enough about Kaito's performance in that game. I know we saw some highlight stuff there at the end, but so often you saw him engaged in those one-on-one duels with Taiji and Yamamichi, 2 of the best frontliners doing it right now. More often than not, he came out on top in those situations, and we will not be bringing out the broom today.
And Ashley, we saw a lot of Stingray versus Stingray, and it seemed like a critical point at the end where you had both of those, and the Back Squids were able to get that splat on Dynamon. That really seemed to secure the victory for them.
It really did. I mean, I would say that was the clutch moment where if Dynamon had survived through that entire Stingray and had taken out Echo, instead of it being a trade, I think this could have been a very different end.
Just an exhilarating match. Let's go ahead and look back at some of the replays here. And 9, walk us through what we're seeing here, because we saw the momentum swing side to side throughout this match, but here's Watson.
Watson, and when you use a weapon like this on the Slosher, you see that you've got some raised area here. It's going to allow you to kind of take advantage of it. But as we see there, Yamamichi using that stealth jump to come in, put pressure on the tower, and you see they kind of just close in on it. Everyone is aware of where that objective is. And, you know, because of the layout of this level, if you get stuck down there and it moves up, you have to jump back up to the top to get on it. And I'm glad that you mentioned that final splat being so important. They didn't have time to get up there before the respawns happened.
So now it's 1-1. We're guaranteed at least a game 5. So that's a treat for everybody here. Both these teams, as you see how evenly matched they are, Ashley, and the passion and also the organization we're seeing from both of these teams, these pushes. What can you say about the Back Squids and what we've seen the last couple of days from them?
I mean, gosh, I am so impressed with the level of play that they have brought to this tournament. The shot calling has been very good. The communication has been so good. And honestly, seeing them watch each other's backs, it's so different than when you play Splatoon 2 and you're just by yourself and you're playing Turf War. You know, to be able to play on a team of 4 people who are all communicating with each other, I mean, the level of absolute, like, just pro play is so wonderful to see.
Well, let's get set for our 3rd game. It will be Clam Blitz, and here's the explanation behind that. You toss clams into the enemy basket. First team to score 100 points wins. Find clams scattered around the stage. Round up 10 clams to receive a power clam, which resembles a football, which it's not a court 9, but it's on a what? field is the magic word we're looking for. You'll still get the sporty sports, my buddy. I tried to set you up.
I'm not going to entertain you. I am not going to do it today, sir.
A power clam is needed to break the basket's barrier. 1 clam equals 3 points. A power clam equals 20 points on the field of play out there. And this is one of those game modes, 9, where it can be a little chaotic. You talk about clam management and the currency that's on the field at this point.
We call it the clam economy because it's so important to have your clams. We saw yesterday in the Set to Destroy X versus Back Squids game, Set to Destroy X had moments where they were pushing up, but they just didn't have the clams to follow it up. Because of that, teams will sometimes wait until they have enough of those power clams to really make a dent, because there is a penalty associated if you aren't able to score enough points.
And you don't want to give a pity clam to the opposing team, especially when they're already in the lead.
They're getting set with their gear and their weapons. It will be Clam Blitz on Manta, Maria, and Ashley. You look at Manta, Maria, in the middle of this stage is really where things happen, being able to control that area. But what else do we recognize about this level?
I mean, I think this is a really long, thin level, right? And so and it's also a little bit of a smaller stage. And so with Clam Blitz, I think there's a lot of verticality of that crow's nest. I think we're going to see a lot of, we're going to see some long range action here. I'm hoping Dynamon's on that splat lane again, and I think Echo is almost definitely going to be on a charger.
Players in the lobby, they're getting set still, and we talk about having the power clam here, 9, and obviously it gives up your position, but these teams are so good at communicating. Let us know a little bit more about how these teams break down these stages and communicate where people are and some of the terms they use.
Well, the easiest terms that you'll see are left and right. Sometimes simple is best. The real key is making sure they're quick call-outs because you have to know where the opponent is at now.
Let's get set for Clam Blitz on Manta Maria. You've got the GG boys of Japan in the purple taking on the Back Squids of Europe in the green. And let's break down these loadouts here and some of these main abilities. We saw a lot of stealth jump there, 9.
Anytime you have a long map like this, you know you're going to see a lot of super jumps coming back in. It's just an inevitability. If you're going to do that, very common to see some stealth jump to just make it a little bit easier.
Kaito getting the splat on Yamamichi early in this one. 4-3 advantage for the Back Squids. Neither team with a power clam. At this point, you're looking to get 10 clams to get that power clam. You, of course, can share clams with your teammates, pass them off, and when you get splatted, Ashley, you're giving up clams as well.
Yeah, you're giving up the clams to potentially to other team, but if you can keep them away from it at least until they disappear, you're probably in a much better place.
Watson with that slosher trying to cover some ink. And 9, we talk about this. You focus on the objective of the game, but you want to make sure you cover the turf and give your team plenty of space to move around.
Right, the fundamentals of the game never go away. You make sure that you control that turf, you give yourself the lanes, and it's an added benefit here in Clam Blitz. You can see the clams that are under your turf, so it's one more reason why you need to control the map.
Dynamon with a power clam. You see the GG boys trying to be the first ones to get on the board, waiting to find an opening. Looks like he has a chance here if he can toss the power clam. And he has a completion with the barrier, and now it's the early advantage for the GG boys. However, the Back Squids are able to stop everything and do a complete wipe of the GG boys here, Ashley.
That's one of the things that is so dangerous about doing those really big pushes with 3 team members or more, is that you're really risking an entire team wipe, and that's exactly what just happened.
And 9, you see Majin dropping the power clam, another teammate picking it up, and when you talk about having 3 power clams on the board, that changes the priority for the GG boys.
Zach, where do you put your defenses here? There's too much pressure coming in. They're going to set up this jump. The baller has gone in and watched them. Here they come.
Here they come.
1, 2, 3.
Execution is flawless from the Back Squids. You saw the baller roll in there, explode, and 3 super jumps by the goal. You can't write it any better than that, 9.
That is exactly what you want to see. Textbook play, but you're seeing now Dynamon going to try to do the exact same thing. You see 21 clams there at the top of the screen, so they have the resources they need. They're going to need their own slosher deco to build up a baller, though, before they can get too deep.
Dynamon with the power clam, trying to chase down a few members of the Back Squids. Back Squids shifting to more of a defensive focus right now. They see the threat coming. Oh, Dynamon with 2 direct shots. That rapid blaster at close range can still get the job done. Dynamon trying to avoid the splat, but gets hit by the Back Squids, and now it's 2:15 left. 3-2 advantage on the field. And once again, Ashley, that defense from the Back Squids showing its head.
All you have to do at this point, if you're the Back Squids, is play really great defense. And unfortunately, Itona has a ball ready to go. So if If GG boys can get a couple of power clams going, I think this could be real dangerous for the back squids.
Under 2 minutes left. Etuna getting the power clam. However, you've got another one for the back squids at this point. And 9, both of these teams have a stiff penalty, so it's going to be a coordinated effort if you're looking to improve your score.
It is, and I love the way that back squids have been playing this defense. They know that they can't let the baller get close. This might be an awkward angle for them to hit in. They do score, but I don't know if they were able to get any other jumps. You see Taiji coming in is actually able to go through and gets a crucial double kill.
Huge.
We'll see if this is going to be enough. The next baller comes in.
Taiji, and you saw the other power clam, and now the GG boys are building up their lead. 29-40, but a 30-point penalty. Look at the timer at the top of your screen as well, too. That still has plenty of life to it. You can keep tossing clams as long as there's some purple there. GG boys looking for one more clam. Can it get there in time? Oh! The door is closed on Taiji, but they have built themselves a 17-point lead. 1 minute left. If you're the back squids here, Ashley, you got to shift from defense to offense at this point.
They're going to have to get very aggressive, but they're also going to have to be really careful because, again, you're going to have to make that run successful. Otherwise, it could end in a team wipe.
Echo with a power clam at this point. 42 seconds left. You see the bubble blower special ready to go. A power clam on the field for the GG boys. And 9, you've talked about it. It's clam management at this point. Are there enough on the field for the back squids to make a comeback?
Well, anytime you see 15 or more, or 20 or more at this case, that means that there's not a lot of clams for you to work with. They're going to need that power clam and a lot more points. Watson's going to be forced to use this baller pretty far out. They're going to have to make this push the old-fashioned way, and it looks like they might.
Oh, the GG boys able to shut the door on the push of the back squids. And here comes Yamamichi. They're going to go ahead and just get the KO. They send the back squids to the canvas on Clam Blitz, and they're now up 2-1 in these grand finals. And that's what we saw. We knew that the back squids had to become more offensively minded here, 9. And because of that, the GG boys were able to play some defense and then close the door on this match.
And that was just dirty. They snuck behind there. You saw at the top of the screen, one of the members of the back squids had super jump there. They thought they had it, but that allowed the GG boys to sneak behind them, score, and there was no one there to play defense.
And Ashley, we saw at the end of this game, the job that the GG boys did of gathering the other clams to make sure there wasn't enough money in the bank for the back squids to make a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of the game. It's a strategy to play a little bit of keep away with the remaining clams on the field. And so they did an excellent job of getting in the lead and then saying, you know what, all we have to do at this point is just keep the clams away from you so you can't get any more points.
One of the highlights of this matchup, 9, was this 3-player super jump into the baller.
Oh.
You called it as it was happening.
Beautiful.
Show us what we're seeing right here as 3 power clams on the side of the back squids.
Well, you can't draw it up any better than this. You see Watson was able to sneak all the way back through. He even jumped down there to the bottom in order to make sure that his team had just a little bit more. Taiji got there, but got there just a little bit too late. And Taiji, once again, this time, sometimes the great players make great plays. You see a full wipe there when Taiji was in a bad situation that allowed his team to jump in and was really the MVP of that game.
And it seemed like that was most likely the most critical point. Sure, you'll see highlights of that triple super jump, but Taiji's ability to lock down the base, get that wipe, really secured the victory for our GG boys.
Yeah, I mean, Taiji and Yamamichi are just incredible frontliners. They're so good at winning those one-on-ones, and that ends up in conversions, and you are going to be in a really good position if you can win those one-on-ones.
2-1 advantage in our grand finals, courtesy of the GG boys. We get set for game 4. It's going to be Rainmaker, so here's a rundown for those of you at home so you can follow. You're going to carry a mystical missile launcher, 9. Love that term right there. Called the Rainmaker to a pedestal in the enemy base. The Rainmaker is initially located in the center of the stage and is protected by a barrier. If the battle ends without a KO, the team with the lowest goal distance will win. And take us through some high-level strategy with Rainmaker. Where does the coordination begin with this mode?
Well, you want to make sure that you have an alleyway secured before you make that push. There's, of course, moments where a scramble occurs, you take 2 or 3 down, and you just run it all you can. But these teams are so good at identifying where the Rainmaker is going to go and being preemptive. Don't be surprised if it takes a 2, 3, maybe even 4 down situation before they're willing to pick up that Rainmaker.
And a lot of times, Ashley, with that Rainmaker, you really have to be efficient. You've got to stay on the back line, it seems like, because you do want to plow your way forward, but you have to let your teammates clear the way and clear the threats for you as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved in Rainmaker, I think. So you have to really trust that your other 3 teammates are going to be taking good care of you and giving you some time, one, to load up the Rainmaker and actually fire it, because there's a little bit of a delay there. And on top of that, create those lanes for you to get you closer to the goal.
And you look at Camp Triggerfish, which is the stage that we'll be doing Rainmaker on, and what do you notice about this stage as it pertains to Rainmaker and how you navigate this map here, Ashley?
Well, we have that giant gap in the middle of the map, and I think that ends up being a little bit of there's a little bit of a back and forth across the way, as you would as summer camp, of course. And I think it's going to be a really fun thing to watch some of the longer range weapons get across that divide and really start picking off people.
And 9, as far as loadouts go with particular weapons, you know, we've seen a wide variety already in the first 3 game modes, but Rainmaker, what do teams tend to typically focus on?
Well, Stingray, especially on a map like this, going to be very popular. It's a long, narrow pathway that teams tend to run, but don't be surprised if we see something with a wall, because teams tend to go on that netting on the left side of the map. We might see that brand new fresh Glugadooley that we saw. Got the baller and just as I say it,
the man does not even need a crystal ball to call that out. You see the Glugadoolies. GG boys from Japan, the GG boys from Japan in the yellow, and you've got the back squids in blue for Team Europe. 2-1 as we get set for game 4, and Etna already with the Rainmaker trying to advance and improve on the score, and the GG boys trying to make this a quick one. You see the suction bomb in the way of Etna, just being very patient as his teammates can clear things out. And 9, this is one of those game modes, if you blink, it could be over.
I was about to say that exact thing here. It's not going to be enough. They are going to be able to slow it down there, but you can see there's still 3 members there. This one's going to go even further, and Yamamichi is all up in them right now.
Yamamichi trying to clear out the threats, but the back squids do a great job of fortifying their base. You've got a 4-1 on the field advantage for the back squids, and they're going to go take that Rainmaker and just clear it on out of here. You clearly don't want that right by your base. They're going to just guard it, let it reset. 4-3 on the map, and here we see Echo with that charger once again. Ashley, and picking people off once again.
Absolutely beautiful. Echo is so good on that charger, and I was surprised he wasn't on it last game, and I am just more than happy to see him on it this one.
3:50 left in this one. 3-3 on the field, make that 3-2 now, courtesy of the GG boys. They have the advantage and the lead, 30-0 at this point on Camp Triggerfish. And what we've seen already, 9, is every single stage has a particular route you can go with the Rainmaker, and the GG boys wasting no time building this lead.
They're being kind of greedy here. You see they're putting pressure on both sides at the same time. There is that nice little ink rail that kind of allows you access to both sides, which is not something that was there in the Splatoon 1 iteration of this game. Already they're going for more. You see Etna does get taken out pretty quick. This is a good Stingray. It's going to do just enough to take them out there as a 2-down situation. Again, it's solid defense, but we got to see some offense.
Echo getting the splat on Dynamon and stopping the movement of the Rainmaker at that point. Kaito using that splatter shot, trying to create some more ground for his team to operate. Great defense so far from the back squids, but we haven't seen a shred of offense from them. Inkjet ready to go for Kaito. You've got Watson on the ground with that slosher. 3-3 on the field, 3-2 advantage, and this is maybe where the back squids can make an offensive push, but they have to deal with Dynamon and that Inkjet, Ashley.
Yeah, that is very dangerous. It looks like Watson just got splatted, so it just gave Dynamon a whole lot of real estate to work with Itona right here. Got people jumping in already. Here's Yamamichi. Now, again, you've got 3 of the GG boys right there on top of the Rainmaker.
2:25 left in this one. 2-1 advantage in the games. If the GG boys can get this, they'll have a huge 3-1 advantage getting set for game 5. However, a couple more splats. Yamamichi getting splatted by Etna. Etna with those dual squelchers putting in some work right now. 2:10 left in this one. 4-4, plenty of time here. However, if you're the GG boys, you know that you've got the lead. Do you shift to a defensive mindset here, 9?
I don't think you change up the game plan whatsoever. As long as you play within yourself and you don't go too crazy here, I think you can play offense. That's not a spot you want to be. I'm a little bit surprised to see him moving towards the Rainmaker here. There might be a chance for a push on this left side.
Majin trying to keep a couple of the GG boys at bay with that rapid blaster. Here comes Echo with the Rainmaker. Baller on baller crime. Those both negate each other, but you see the splat on the left-hand side of your screen. Echo needs a convoy. Looking for some help to help improve that score. You've got those cargo nets. It's going to be very difficult to navigate. Trying to avoid the splat option. Oh, Echo getting behind the defenses, but it's not enough. And you see the score there, 9. It was 30-30, but because the GG boys got there first, Backsquid's back at 31.
Can they get anyone up there? Kaito's got to run up there and grab that. The Inkjet's not going to be able to do so. The splash wall might have saved him. Kaito is able to get one, but they're going to need someone else to come back there and pop it. Kaito can't do it himself. He has to focus on the threat that's ahead. The Stingray up to help them. Can anybody grab it?
Kaito gets a couple splats. Here comes Majin, and the Backsquids take the lead. Here comes the slam dunk, and the Backsquids able to do enough and put some pressure on the GG boys, and they lock this thing up here, Ashley.
Wow.
2 games to 2.
I mean, I really thought that Rainmaker was gonna go away. It could have had to have been the last second for that Rainmaker to still be on the map, and Majin just picked it up and jumped over the top of someone and walked it in. It was crazy.
9, how about that concentrated push at the end? It just seemed like it was an endless stream of Backsquids deploying right in that area of the map against the GG boys, and the GG boys unable to reset that Rainmaker. Let's take a look at the replay from all of the action that we just watched. And 9, you look at how much these teams were battling back and forth, but here comes Echo at the pivotal moment of this match.
So many things going on right here. You see Majin had already worked around that backside and was able to get Echo this far into it. He jumps up here, throwing caution to the wind, but the splash wall just enough to slow it down, but credit to the Backsquids there. They gave themselves the position to super jump in. You could not have timed that dual special push there any better. Yamamichi trying his best, but with coordination like that, there's nothing a single player can do.
The 4-0 wipe like Charmin at the end right there. Excellent job, and you see the Stingray getting the critical splat, able to stop things right there. And Ashley, we now have ourselves at least a game 6.
I mean, this is what we all want as Splatoon fans. This is the thing you want to see. We wanted to see a real championship match, and that is exactly what we're looking at.
We get set for a game 5 in our best of 7, and both of these squads back and forth, and that's a huge match right there, 9, because if you aren't able to get that victory, you're now down 3-1. You would have to beat the GG boys 3 times in a row to become victorious. You now give yourself some breathing room.
And you look at how that third game went. It was the Backsquids who got off to that big lead there with that incredible 3 power acclaim score at one time, and then it was the GG boys saying, we're just going to take the wind right out of those sails. That time the roles were completely reversed. It was the GG boys who came out on top at the start, but credit to the Backsquids, they just kept fighting the whole way.
And Ashley, the GG boys got out to the huge lead, the early advantage. It looked like they were almost about to win the game the first 30 seconds, but you saw the defense from the Backsquids. They never give up. They always believe, and that's so important when you get to these grand finals.
Absolutely, and one of the things that I'm always impressed with all 4 teams that have played in this tournament is the ability to remain calm. I know that whenever I am in a situation similar to that while I play Splatoon, I am a panicker, and I'm like, oh, I gotta pick up the Rainmaker because it's just sitting right there in front of me. And these teams show incredible restraint when they know, like, no, I'm not the Rainmaker carrier. I'm gonna wait for my teammates. I'm gonna have a coordinated push. Like, we're gonna do this together, and they've done, all of them have done such a good job at that.
Game 5 will be Splat Zones in the Reef. And Ashley, it was one of the first stages many people got their hands on when they first played Splatoon 2. Tell us about this stage, especially as it pertains to Splat Zones.
I mean, I love the Reef, and I think that this is the map that the teams have had the most time with, I would say, out of all of them. And so the Reef is the one that, you know, I feel like it brings us right back to classic Splatoon, the fight on the bridge. It's time for a fight on the bridge.
Splat Zones in the Reef. A couple of scoops of vanilla ice cream when it comes to game modes here. Just under 5 minutes, you have the Backsquids in the blue, and then in the green, you've got the GG boys. And tell us about the loadouts we're seeing here, 9.
Well, this is not a map where you're going to bring out your long-range weapons, and we already see Echo making his presence felt on that blaster, but it's going to be a 4-0 wipe now from, again, both of these short-range compositions, but now the lockout starts. If you remember, the first Splat Zones game that we saw started exactly like this. Can the Backsquids turn the tides?
Watson with that baller ready to go, trying to avoid both a sprinkler and a couple of curling bombs and an inkjet. It's raining down ink all over Watson. He goes ahead and deploys the baller to help protect him, but here comes Etna trying to turn the tide, trying to get the zone. Oh, critical splat from behind, and already the Backsquids out to a 50-100 lead here, Ashley.
I mean, this has been very good play. They took out Dynamon on that roller very early on in the match, and I think that was so key to help them take over the splat zone, but it looks like GG Boys took it right back.
GG Boys, they grab the zone. It's now 80-50, and that clock continues to tick, and we talk about that lockout phase. This is very similar to the last matchup on Walleye Warehouse we saw here, 9. The GG Boys able to reclaim the turf and then put the pressure on the spawn for the back squids.
And the positioning of Dynamon here is going to be so important. He knows he's got the longest effective range of all the weapons currently on the map. That's why you see him sitting there at the front of the bridge. He knows they're going to come from that way, and because he's been positioned so well and assisting his team, it's starting to look ugly.
GG Boys take the lead. It's 30-50. That clock continues to tick. Very difficult situation for the back squids. They've got 4 squids out there, make that 3, but only 1 special ready to go. Can Watson put some pressure? Kaito gets the splat on the backliner of Dynamon. Trying to get another splat. Critical double splat, and I think those splat bombs might take out the spawn. And yes, you've got a 2-0 wipe for the back squids as they now reclaim the splat zone here, Ashley.
That was a huge clutch play right there by Majin. I mean, being able to stay alive through all of that is massive, and that is why they are in charge of that splat zone right now, and they're going to go ahead and clear out that penalty.
Dynamon going to deploy the ink armor. You see the lead at the top of your screen, 13-39. GG Boys trying to make it a 3-2 advantage. That clock continues to tick, but it's 3-1 on the field. A couple of specials ready to go for the GG Boys, 9.
And that was one of the most crucial 1v1s. And unlike earlier in the set, this time it was Taiji beating Kaito on that. You saw them both stopping and just shooting at the opponent, but Taiji won that. They were really close to getting the lead.
13-26. You see the GG Boys are having to overcome and erase that penalty they currently have, but they have a 13-point lead, 2:18 left. Taiji in the inkjet. Oh, he gets Kaito, but he's hungry. He wants some more. He's going after a few more back squids. Unable to eat right there. Here comes the baller. Watson trying to get into that zone. Enough to get a few sprinkles of ink in the splat zone, but it's not enough. GG Boys about 20 seconds away from victory, and Watson goes down, and 9, it looks like this is when the GG Boys take control of everything, close it out. It looks like it's going to be no issue whatsoever, and they get the victory. They make it 3-2 as we get set for Game 6.
Second verse, same as the first. Exact same thing there. They came out into the lead, all guns ablazing there, but the lockout phase, you just saw the GG Boys a little too good at it. Japan really focuses on splat zones. They run a lot of splat zones only tournaments, and you saw right there as we see Dynamon there coming out on top of that scorecard.
And Ashley, was very similar to the first match of splat zones, like 9 pointed out. The back squids taking the early advantage, but the GG Boys really settling in, recapturing the zone, and then locking out the GG Boys by really dominating their spawn.
Yeah, I think that we tend to see the GG Boys come out really aggressive on splat zones, and basically the strategy there is we're going to come out really aggressive. If we can take over that splat zone, great, but if not, that's okay. We have plenty of time to regroup, take it back, and go ahead and move forward from there. So I think that they have enough time and sort of the luxury of being really aggressive on that first push, because they can always just come right back.
And 9, you talked about a big-time 1v1 matchup. Let's roll back the replay and see what you were referring to. This was a moment where really this game changed. You had the back squids really with the GG Boys on the ropes.
Yes, and right here, Taiji did a great job of using the cover of Dynamon to move in. You see taking out Watson there, and right there you can just barely see them both shooting at each other. A little bit of strafing there, but Taiji taking that completely compromised the bridge. One more goes down off screen, and it just fell together.
They get the wipe against the back squids at that point. You saw the back squids only 13 seconds away from tying them. So we now see some of the great defense the back squids play. The GG Boys give them a taste of their own medicine. We now get set for Game 6. It'll be tower control on Moray Towers, Ashley. One of the most notorious levels. Obviously,
and
Moray
also
Towers.
A Smash Brothers level.
It is, yes. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about what we see here with Moray Towers, especially with tower control.
Oh man, I mean, Moray Towers, I think you're going Chargers all day long. Echo's gonna be on that Charger 100%. We are gonna see some Stingrays all day. It's gonna get crazy out there.
And 9, what do you think is going through the mind of the GG Boys? They're one victory away from capturing the World Championship. And if you're the back squids, you were in this situation yesterday. You were down 2-1 against Set to Destroy X, and you're able to win the next 2 games to make your way to the finals. Tell us about what's going through the minds of these players, most likely.
Well, the back squids, no stranger to important wins on tower control. One of the greatest games I've ever seen played yesterday. They have to be confident. They know that this is a back and forth situation. They're not being outmatched. They know that if they execute, they can bring it to them. And I think it's almost the exactly same thing coming from the GG Boys. It's just a matter of, all right, we're here. We know how we want to play this. Let's just do our thing and we'll get that win.
Players still in the lobby selecting their gear. Big time match, of course. If the GG boys get the victory, they are your Splatoon 2 world champions. Backsquids trying to force a game 7 if they can get a victory here. Tower control last time, Ashley. The Backsquids get the victory there. We saw how well they're able to play defensively late in that match. You figure Moray Tower, though, you got to have those long-range weapons to play some defense. Well, let's get set. Game 6, Tower control. GG boys from Japan. Looking for a victory. Just one win away from a world championship. Can the Backsquids, with their backs against the wall, make it a game 7? In the turquoise, you've got the GG boys of Japan. In the pink, you've got the Backsquids of Europe. And already, we look at some of these loadouts here, Nine, and just a few long-range weapons that we see.
Only a few, but something to keep in mind is that 2 members are using a burst bomb weapon here. They're trying to use that so that they can pressure these long-range weapons. They know Dynamon is going to be able to sit back here on this flatling and make it very painful for them. And right now, it's not working for them.
GG boys on the tower. If you remember last year, Dynamon, part of that Dynamu team, they were looking to extend the match themselves on Moray Towers. What poetic justice it would be if they can get the victory here today on Moray Towers. Early on, Ashley, we see the GG boys trying to get through that first checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a lot of Stingray action back and forth. I think Dynamon is absolutely going to be gunning for Echo very specifically because he wants to keep Echo away from his special for as long as humanly possible.
49-100 advantage for the GG boys in this game 6. The GG boys get the victory here. They are your world champions. Dynamon pushing even more forward with that Stingray. Gets the splat on Echo, and that's going to pave the way. Can the GG boys close this one out? 2 more Backsquids left. Can they play defense? 8 seconds left. Will the GG boys be your champions? And they get it done. They send the Backsquids to bed. No story time. And we have our champions of the Splatoon 2 World Championship, the GG boys of Japan. You see the emotion, the joy. Obviously, round of applause for the Backsquids and what they are able to accomplish. Gave us some really riveting matches. We got to 6 games, but it was just too much from the GG boys, and especially what we saw right there, 9, Dynamon's ability to move forward with that Stingray, and that splat on Echo really told the story of this one.
It's not unrealistic to think that FT Win coming into this final with all of that enthusiasm, all of that momentum. I mean, Kyo is fired up. And who wouldn't be after a performance like that? Come into that final and get out there and get something done. It's not unreasonable.
Well, if I remember, in grand finals last year, the GG boys did drop a game. So if they drop a game, they could drop 2. They could drop 3. They could drop the whole set right now. FT Win has all the momentum. They have this entire crowd at their back as well. There is so much going for them right now, but the GG boys ever steady.
Well, what you said about FT Win, when they are at their best here, 9, they are very difficult to beat. And minus that unbelievable comeback we saw in Splat Zones by Alliance Rogue, really, FT Win almost won that thing 3-1 over a very solid European team. And that's what they're playing for right there. The Splatoon Sterling Squid. North America won it in 2017. GG boys last year in 2018. There's room on that trophy for a champion this year, but GG boys standing in the way of FT Win.
Someone's going to go up 2-1 in the set of sets. The tournament of tournaments right here. And, you know, I have to wonder a little bit. GG boys winning with such ease that they did, winning 3-0 and then waiting for, you know, the better part of an hour for that. I wonder how this first game's going to go. They might be a little cold.
Yeah, rhythm versus rest. It's a best of 7 now, so we get even more Splatoon 2 action in our championship match between the GG boys and FT Win. We'll be doing ranked modes, but as we saw, Ashley, depending on which ranked mode comes up twice possibly, if this does go beyond 4 games, is huge, because you could argue that tower control being the 5th game was a big positive for FT Win. We're going to start with tower control also, and both these teams, it looks like it's one of their strongest modes.
It definitely is, but I'm very curious how GG boys is going to handle not really having a backliner, especially with, you know, you've got Ice back there with that Stingray, and he is a menace.
He's an absolute menace. So I'm really curious to see how they respond and what their strategy is.
And Nine, you figure we'll see some Yamamichi with the Stingray as well, too. He's done a fine job of really providing that backline support at times when that special comes for him.
Well, I'm really interested in seeing, they've been running, I agree that they don't have a traditional backliner, but they've been saying, to heck with that, we're running 2 backliners. That's what they've done. They've done a custom Explosher as well as Yamamichi's Stingray producing custom Jet Squelcher. So I think that they're trying to control the pace of the map with that double backline composition. It can work, and it has worked at the highest level. It's a control-oriented game up against an aggressive pressure-based game.
Well, this was something the GG boys said earlier this week. They understand that the mechanics of the game have changed since last year, and where last year they were more aggressive with shorter range weapons, they realized the value in longer range weapons. And so let's get set. Tower Control, our first game in finals here between the GG boys of Japan, your defending champions, taking on FT Win from North America. Tower Control, game 1 here, 9. We get so excited for this one, obviously, because anything can happen, but Wahoo World, that's going to provide some interesting strategy for this one.
It will. This is a great long-range map, and you actually see Kyo switching over to the Neo, the sloshing machine Neo, which is not a weapon that we have seen a lot. It's got the point sensor for a sub and a bomb rush. They're going to be using that to pressure the opponent. There's a lot of open ground here. They're going to take it real quick with that one.
FT Win in the green, GG boys of Japan in the orange early on. Nobody else getting a splat. Oh, there's an early splat right there. 4-3 advantage GG boys, and oftentimes actually things can change at the beginning.
Yamamichi gets these Stingrays in 12 seconds.
How about a couple of nice clean splats off the tower? Taiji riding that thing to the first checkpoint. Dynamon providing some support up above with the Explosion. But here comes Ice with that Stingray, trying to get a splat. Taiji, meanwhile, then Inkjet providing some aerial support.
Thank goodness they were able to get somebody out in that situation. If that Stingray found nobody, that was going to be what could have potentially been the game right there. You see 2 of them going down. They're just a little bit disorganized right now. They aren't taking 2v1s.
GG boys back on the tower and pressuring once again at that first checkpoint. Oh, big 1v1 victory for Yamamichi. Dynamon coming in with that baller, providing a little bit more support. Oh, Dynamon had a chance to flank him right there, but the 2v1 gets reversed, and FT Win playing some more great defense after.
Those are some really big trades there, and I think completely neutralized anything that was happening in that moment for both teams.
You get the feeling here, 9, that FT Win has finally stabilized a little bit after getting knocked on their heels early on.
When there's a 12-second Stingray, of course you're going to get a little taken down, and Shaq has actually gotten 2 picks with just random bombs that he has tossed out in the general direction. That's what zoning can do for you, and now we're starting to see a pushback the other way.
4-2 on the field for FT Win at that moment. It's now 4-3 GG boys. Now they're in the defensive Etsuna. Fine positioning right there. And how about FT Win taking the lead here, Ashley?
I mean, FT Win is doing a really great job right here. Tona, though, doing the work, getting out there. He's getting a little aggressive. Let's see. He doesn't quite take that down.
3-1 and a nice almost wipe right there by FT Win. They're past the first checkpoint. And yes, GG boys, they can't get hit. They get knocked back, and FT Win starting to really push that lead, and that's a big checkpoint there, 9.
It is. This is the best that I have ever seen Shaq play. He came, as he put it, from the very bottom, and he is pushing up right here. You can see Shaq and Killer there as well. This is becoming a steamroll right here. They only needed 1 good hold to take it all the way down to 13 and that final checkpoint.
GG boys trying to fend off the final score. Shaq with some tension missiles. However, GG boys are like, hold up a second. We the defending champs for a reason. This thing ain't over. 4-4 on the map. GG boys, though, they do not have much room for error. They are down 71-9 with 2.5 left. But here comes yet another Stingray providing support. And you figure here, Ashley, this is going to be another nice push by the GG boys.
It is. I am a little curious, 9. Like, do you think that might have been a little bit too early on the Stingray for Yamamichi? I feel like maybe he should have held it a little bit longer.
Well, there were so many people that were still up in the middle of the map that I can understand using it just to try to buy yourself a little time and space. Right now, they've been losing their 1v1s. They've been getting outspaced after what was a pretty shaky opening from FT Win.
Yo, as we said, getting critical 1v1s. That point sensor is going to help prevent the GG boys from playing any hide and go seek. Here comes a super jump defensively. Taiji in that Inkjet, applying more pressure. And once again, GG boys, they have to go through the first 2 checkpoints. But this thing is far from over. Here they are, and this is where they've been unable to get by here, 9. Let's see if Dynamon can get some reinforcements to help out.
He will need some reinforcements. You saw that Etsuna was pushed up in a great spot, and Taiji is too. Shaq trying to call out that Taiji is pressuring them, and this Stingray is going to be the most important part of the game here. Like I said before, if this can't find a pick they're already one down.
No pick right there. Tower resets itself. Head back to the middle. Yamamichi, in the middle of a 2v1. Nicely done by FT Win. They've got a 4-3 advantage. Tower reclaimed by the GG boys, and that first checkpoint is clear. Taiji trying to mow down some traffic. Taiji gets a big splat using the tower for protection. Moves around. His teammate spawning in. 3v1 situation. Unable to escape that, and now it's 4-3 on the map, and this is the pivotal point here if the GG boys can get back on the tower here, Nine.
Well, this has been really scary. This is similar to traditional sports where one team is holding possession for a long time. The GG boys have been winning the last minute of this game, and you figure it's just a moment before one of these two teams slips, and that pick right there might have done it.
Yamamichi on the tower using the Stingray. It's 4-2 GG boys. Another Stingray coming back. Ice has to make this count, and huge! Get out the club, Yamamichi, as Ice uses the Stingray. But once again, the GG boys continue to apply pressure. They're right by the tower. They're being patient, taking care of any threats. Less than 20 seconds left remain. It's 4-2 though, GG boys at 9. They got to make it count right here.
They do, approaching the second checkpoint. This might be some very crucial. Ink Armor should allow 2D to win this 1v1, and he does. This is it right here. All of the GG boys need to stay alive as long as they can. And with 2 already down and 4 seconds left, this is going to be it, I believe.
And that does it. FT Win able to hold their ink at the end. They steal the first game of the championship from the GG boys and take a 1-0 lead, Ashley. And now GG boys, they're having to feel a little pressure in this situation.
I bet. I mean, like Nine had mentioned, I mean, they've been backstage waiting, watching, sure, and making a strategy, but also waiting. And now FT Win's got some momentum. They are fired up, and they're gonna come into this next game ready to go.
The determination, the communication, the look on the face of FT Win. They are confident that this is something that they can take from the GG boys. Let's look at a couple of highlights here, Nine, as you walk us through some of the action. So many pivotal points in this match, but right now, this is where FT Win really got their final big score of the game.
And this is, I think, the telling story of the difference in between these two teams. We talked earlier about what a double backline composition can do in terms of control, but the composition that FT Win is running and the way they play, they say, to heck with your control, we're moving up and you have to play perfectly to stop us. That is why they were able to push far as they were. But I will say, some people that I've talked to before this said, that tower control may be the worst mode for the GG boys. They might be looking at this saying, you know, we actually played pretty well given that. Let's go ahead and take the next four.
Very interesting point. Here comes the Stingray from Ice, because you felt like this is the point the GG boys had the advantage. They were up 4-2, but the splat on Yamamichi not only stops the tower, but turns the tide of momentum on the field, and FT Win never shaking in their boots here, Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, getting that pick on Yamamichi was a huge deal because you take one of the best Stingrays in the game out. You also, he's got to wait to respawn. He's not going to get back in time. And so, again, it becomes running down the clock.
Let's take a look at our next rank mode taking place here. Best of 7, game 1 going to FT Win from North America. But as you said, Nine, GG boys might not be sweating this loss in tower control. They know that they've got some other modes where they might be favored. We have Rainmaker coming up here next. And what's interesting is we have 2 Rainmakers, 2 tower controls in this best of 7 if we go to 7. And so Rainmaker, what we saw earlier on, FT Win the more aggressive team, that really helped them out. But GG boys, you talk about aggressive, you're going to find GG boys in the dictionary.
You will, and the fact that this is on humpback pump track as well means that they're going to be able to attack it in a number of different ways. If they opt to stick with this double backline composition, there's enough room that you can pester people from regularly safe positions. So I'm interested in seeing if they stick with this, and if this doesn't work, they might need to find a new answer quickly.
And Nine, we haven't talked much about the sub-abilities that you can use right now. Is there anything that you're seeing from these teams that might be turning the tide of the map or speaks volumes to their strategy, possibly?
Anytime you use a Kensa Splattershot Pro, which is one of the most popular weapons, Kyo has been using it, we saw Kiver using it earlier as well, you're going to want to stack that main power up. That can turn that thing into from a 3-shot splat into a 2-shot splat.
Such an important aspect to keep in mind right there. But Ashley, humpback pump track, Nine made a good point. There's really no place to hide in this map as well, too. There's so many different ways that you can be attacked, and so aggression, aggression, aggression as they get set. Let's get ready for game 2 here. FT Win with a 1-0 lead in our finals. GG boys trying to even this thing up. We've got Rainmaker GG Boys of Japan in the purple, and what do we see here?
Wow.
Caused such a reaction here, Nine.
Double custom jet squelcher? That's the answer? I've never seen this before. This is going to be 2 Stingrays, 2 burst bombs, lots of range, and Echina is using the Kensa for eyes. You know, I'm going to need a minute just to recover from this one. It's actually the Octo Brush Nouveau. This is another weapon that we almost never see in competitive play. The Octo Brush itself is great, and they're trying to use that and create as much pressure. They say, Ice, you know you have a Stingray, we're going to throw 2 at you, buddy.
FT win with an early lead of the Rainmaker, but not much going on there because this is humpback pump track and anything can happen for the most part. 2D with some Ink Storm ready to go, trying to provide some saturation on this map at this point. 4-4. Neither team with a huge advantage on the map right now. Fighting for mid, a Stingray coming out once again as 2D backpedals, and Ashley, once again, the Stingrays can do so much in controlling the map on this stage.
Yeah, and with 2 of them, it's going to be even more interesting to see how that happens. Although, Ice is so good and so precise with that Stingray that Dynamon really didn't stand a chance there.
You're going to hear that Stingray scream in your dreams right now. Yamamichi, meanwhile, just hanging out low. Oh, in the middle of a 2v1. Gets splatted right there, and that's a 4-3 advantage. Rainmaker at 42. FT win. Trying to surprise GG Boys once again, but 9. Getting to 21. How does that fare on this map?
I mean, I think this makes the job so easy. As Shaq gets around for a flank, he might be able to win the game right here. He tries at 11. Everything what I was about to say, multiply it by a little bit, and it's still the same here. This is a very passive composition that the GG Boys are running. What they're trying to do is be able to target Ice's Stingray, and then still have another one to play with the long, narrow path that Rainmaker has to travel.
It's interesting that the GG Boys are adapting to the FT Win strategy. Meanwhile, FT Win is just going what works best for them as well, too. And you see it's working well, but the GG Boys finally on the map right here. Rainmaker stuck at the bottom of that ramp at this point. Ice doing a nice job of negating that. Stingray ready to go. There's a look at your map. 3-3 on the field. 3 minutes left. GG Boys have plenty of time, but now FT Win, Ashley, you've got the lead. You start to think about playing defensively when you get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's what you want to do, but Etona is making that really difficult. And that double Stingray means that you've got 2 players. One can focus on taking out Ice, and the other one can focus on taking out 3 other players.
And 9, we saw those tentiveness was part of the GG Boys strategy to really disrupt the Stingray and the camping ability of FT Win. Tai G getting a nice little pick on that Inkjet as well, too.
And this is finally where the strategy might pay off a little bit. You saw that they immediately went with the double Stingray, and that's actually going to be able to get a couple here, so they're going to get a chance to push. If Taiji wins the 1v1 and he's not able to, they might have been able to push up a little more, but you look at their composition, they just don't have that many aggressive weapons. They're relying very heavily on Stingray.
It's such a good point. They need the specials and long range in order to get their splats in. For FT Win, they love the aggression. They will get up in your face and challenge you. That Rainmaker 2D's got an escort and a little bit of room to go. Yamamichi trying to negate things. Here comes yet another Stingray. Oh! Stinging on stinging, and Ice is able to survive that Stingray war. And here comes FT Win. They've got the Rainmaker. They've got a sizable lead. Now they just have to be a little bit patient here. And GG Boys once again on their heels here, 9.
Well, I can't say enough how nice it is. The reason that Ice seems to always be winning these Rainmaker, these Stingrays, is because he can be reactionary. And speaking of reactionary, the crowd reaching a fever pitch as 2D almost gets it there. Still back to 11, but again, the pressure that they are able to exert and the fact that Ice can wait for the Stingray to come out and respond to it means that he's always Stingraying from an advantage.
Yamamichi with the Stingray. 1:18 left, so the GG Boys running out of time. They certainly want to avoid a 2-0 hole. Here comes Taiji using that Inkjet for a bit of advantage, but Shaq getting through the defenses and stopping the Rainmaker in its track. A minute left. Oh, nice little one shot as well there. 3-2 on the field. GG Boys, they have a 4-2.
Oh, no.
You've got to be careful if you're FT Win here. Echina using that tenta missiles to dislodge everything. And now it's 2-1. How about FT Win trying to hold their water at this point here, Ashley?
I mean, FT Win's going to have to work really hard right now to be able to hold this. GG Boys are really doing a great job. That was a great pick. Excellent pick right there. Now we've reset just a little bit. They can take a chance. They can breathe.
The 1v1s and the 2v1s, FT Win really riding those to this lead at this point. Rainmaker still in the territory of FT Win. But GG Boys, you got less than 30 seconds left. You have to make something happen now. 2D getting the splat. Starting to move forward here at this point. 20 seconds left. Rainmaker up for grabs at this point. 4-2 on the map, FT win. If they can close this out, they'll take a commanding 2-0 lead in this best of 7. Dynamon and the troops trying to get their push together. Here comes the Stingray. Is it gonna go to overtime? Can anybody get the Rainmaker in time? Yamamitsu grabs it, but he gets splatted. That does it. FT win. Once again, 9, you said it. When this team is playing at their best, it is hard to stop them. Not even the defending champs can right now.
Both games have started the same way. It's been a matter of getting an early lead and then continuing to protect it and play defense. It's so much easier to play defense. And again, I think the most important moment there, when the GG boys were in command and looked like they might get a pick, Ice dove down and traded his little squid for 2 of theirs. The fact that he was able to get 2 with 1 jump, I think, is what stopped that push in its tracks.
Huge pick, huge pick. And honestly, like, I think you mentioned the double Stingray is almost a really conservative approach that you can take during Rainmaker. And it felt like if you're gonna take that approach, you cannot get splatted, because if you're being conservative with an aggressive team like FT Win, they get 1 pick on 1 Stingray. It's off to the races.
And it's such a good point, 9, because you were talking about the composition you saw from the GG boys at the beginning, and this is a team that's known to be aggressive. Well, going with some rather passive weapons here, do you think if you're the GG boys, you maybe change your strategy and go back to your old, much more hyper-aggressive ways?
I don't know if hyper-aggressive is the way I'd go, but I do think that I don't think the double backline is going to work for them right now. This has become a battle of trying to control that which cannot be controlled. And the other thing that we really need to just look at, they're a control-oriented composition that is trying to play from behind, and that is not where that type of composition can succeed.
2-0 advantage, FT win. Let's take a look at our next rank mode coming up here. We've already seen some tower control, some Rainmaker, Clam Blitz coming up here in 9 as you go ahead and gaze into the future of this one. What are we going to see from Clam Blitz on this next map?
Well, this is Snapper Canal, which is a very open map. There's a lot of room you can move on the left and to the right side, which means that the weapons that can paint better and the more mobile composition tends to win. And that's FT Win right now. They're the more aggressive composition. They're the ones that's going to be able to build up the clams at a quicker pace.
What's amazing to me, Ashley, is that FT Win was staring a 2-1 deficit in the face in best of 5. They had just been upset on splat zones at the last second. How about their resolve? They've won 4 straight games now.
I mean, this is it's not like we haven't seen comebacks like this during this has been a crazy World Championship, and the path to it have been full of crazy upsets. I mean, we watched Australia, New Zealand, West Lime Soda come back from that 0-4 deficit. I mean, they're unstoppable right now, FT Win.
The Splatoon Sterling Squid, just 2 games away from FT Win. However, the GG boys, if you want to talk about a team that won't quit, that's them. But 9, as you said, between the stage and game mode, this might play into the hands of FT Win. They're going to be in the blue. Meanwhile, GG boys of Japan in the green. And it's all about managing that clam economy on the map. But what we've seen is a very determined, confident, resolved FT Win team. And a little bit of couple of changes in their lineup here.
Yeah, we're seeing Etsuna go ahead and switch back over to the Umbrella. And on the other side, we see the ballpoint Splatling that is coming out of Ice, who has had the tournament of his life so far. And he's going to try to rotate back here. It is a little bit more mobile of a backliner here. So again, the focus on mobility. On the other side, though, the GG boys saying, now this is a bigger map. Now we can control it a little more. And finally, we don't have an objective that you can push.
A couple of squid beacons coming out as well, too, allowing FT Win to navigate this map as well, too. But you see the tent umbrella providing a lot of protection right there. And already, Power Clam into the goal here for the basket. GG boys, first one on the map. Here comes the baller. Let's see if they can add anything else to their score. But that's going to help more than anything else. The GG boys finally taking the early lead in the game mode here, 9.
They do, but the fact that they just gave FT Win what we call the pity clam right there, when your basket closes after the opponent scores, you get the chance to get a free clam. And right now we see Yamamichi just trying to get rid of Ice there, and with it, that pity clam. So I don't know that the 1 score really does a whole lot for them in this situation.
Dynamon also utilizing a squid beacon to advance behind the defenses of FT Win. He's got a power clam ready to go, but you know you can't hide with it. Everyone knows where you're at. More clams being dropped onto the field here, and you see a power clam for each team. One with the baller, but Dynamon somehow able to escape that. Oh, but FT Win getting the critical splat. 4-3 on the map for them, and they have a power clam 9.
They do, and Shaq getting another pick right here. He's going to just try to distract anyone who has that higher ground. Going to come get what could have been an easy pick onto Taiji. That's going to be the lead, and it might be a lot more if they don't play this well.
FT win. 3-point lead over the GG boys. They get that one extra clam, and that is huge because you look at the penalty, and FT win, though. They've got the lead. It's going to take one power clam, though, for the GG boys to come back. So not too bad right there. Not too much damage on that side. It's still up for grabs either team. And you mentioned the use of the squid beak. It's helping teams move around here, but actually controlling the middle of this map seems to be so important right now, and neither team has really been dominant there.
It really is, and you're right. Neither team has really been dominant controlling the center of the map. I think really at this point the GG boys are just trying to slow down the pace of the game because FT Win is so out there for blood.
GG boys, they get a power clamp into the basket. They now have a 10-point lead. Trying to get some more reinforcements there to spill some more clams. They do. That timer continues. Etna has to get within reach. And yes, GG boys right here, 9, applying some nice pressure, filling that basket, padding that lead.
Well, I love the fact that Etna opted to move back there and say, I'm going to continue to hold on to this spot with my umbrella that you can't do much about. I will keep this up here. We can score and keep the basket open a little longer if we need to. Otherwise, we'll take the points.
43-77, and that's huge because FT Win's going to need at least 3 power clams to match the score of GG boys, or at least 2 power clams and then some help. And we know how difficult it's been to score in this game so far. But we see 2 power clams on the map here. FT Win with a chance to make a push here, Ashley.
Yeah, FT Win taking out Atona, who is probably the closest to a special with the exception of Yamamichi. But once you do that, now he's got to respawn. His special meter is gone way down, and he's really back at square one.
Shaq gets a critical splash with the baller, gets the power clam, gets it in the basket, and here's the window of opportunity for FT Win. Can they get some help and get some more points here? Here comes yet another power clam, super jumping in, but how about Dynamon with that big time splat at the perfect moment?
It is. Shaq might be able to get a lead here. No, he was not able to collect a clam. 2D's going to add one more.
FT Win! At the very last second, they sneak in a couple more clams, and they take the lead with a minute left. And that penalty is huge because 9 is going to take a power clam and then some for the GG boys to reclaim the lead.
We come up to a minute left. Yamamichi's positioning here is important. This is where their composition will shine. They're going to be able to at least keep FT Win pinned back, or at least I thought so before Shaq ran face first into a 1v2 and still got a pick out of it.
Yamamichi, oh, huge pick right there. 4-3 on the map. FT Win. They've got to hold on to a 1-point lead. GG boys, they need a couple of power clams in order to recapture the lead here. 30 seconds left. FT Win can take a commanding 3-0 lead. Let's see if 2D and his gang. Oh, that's a big time splat as well, too. Ashley, GG boys, this is where they have to make a push, or else it's going to be a steep hill to try and reclaim that championship.
A very, very steep hill for them to try to reclaim. So, 10 seconds left. I don't know. Can they make it?
Dynamon's got a power clam ready to go. We know it's going to be overtime as long as they have a clam. 3-3 on the map. FT Win. Oh, no! GG boys at the last second. They put a couple power clams in there, and just like we saw in the semifinals, a Game 3 overtime come from behind victory 9.
The ability, they had 2 power clams there. They split them up on both sides of the map. There wasn't a way for all of the members of FT Win to contribute to stopping one push. We were focused on the push on the right, but the push on the left broke through.
Ashley, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that this baby in me is freaking out right now because I just freaked out. That was crazy. I can't believe we just saw that. That was so amazing. I mean, these last seconds snatched from the jaws of defeat victories are always my favorite thing to see. I just shook 9 probably harder than I should ever shake a human being in my life. That was incredible and a true testament to just how good GG boys are and how they will fight until the last possible second.
Let's take a look at a replay from that exhilarating match that we saw there. And 9, go ahead and walk us through what we saw, the split of the power clams here.
Well, I think that Etna got the pick there on the splashdown in mid-air. It was either that or Yamamichi, but that allowed them to move up. You see that everyone else had rotated over to stop this push, and they were able to sneak back up. There's actually not even much resistance on that side. Shaq tries to go in, but you're not going to be able to take down a Brella by yourself.
Yamamichi with the power clam, filling in a couple of clams. And Ashley, we can't emphasize how big that victory was. GG boys, if you don't make that play at the end of the match, you're down 3-0. You now have to sweep FT Win to try and reclaim the championship again. But because you get that victory, it's 2-1 and you're back in the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a great way for them to reclaim momentum, to get a little confidence rolling into the next mode, which Obviously, it's going to be really fun to watch. I think this is going to really, this might be a very pivotal game in our tournament.
And I think that one of the other things that's most important about getting that win is Splat Zones is Japan's best mode. They invented the game of Splat Zones that we have tried to emulate as best we can. So they might take both of these and flip it right back to 3-2.
Let's see where the rest of our destinations are in this best-of-7 finals. It's 2-1 in favor of FT Win of North America. The GG boys with an unbelievable come-from-behind victory. We see that Splat Zones is next. It's also back-to-back here, 9. So here's a chance for the GG boys. If you say that they are as good at Splat Zones as we think they are, here's a chance for them to go up potentially 3-2 going into our final modes. And so you've talked about the competition level. Ashley, we're experiencing it right here. These teams are so well balanced.
They are so well balanced. They are so calm under pressure. And that is really, to me, what separates the highest tier players. I mean, they don't get tilted. They don't get salty. I mean, they're just like, you know what? It's all right. I got this. I'm one of the best in the world. No problem.
Going back to Splat Zones, the conversation we had with the GG boys earlier in the week, where they feel like they're not going to push aggressively out of the zone. They want to defend it once they have it. What will that look like, 9?
Well, especially on Gobi Arena, which is where we're headed now, this is a map where I almost feel like you have to be willing to push up a little bit. You can see here, you talk about undulation. This has the most of any map. I think the long-range composition that they have might tilt it in their favor.
Lace up your J's and let's play some hoops in Gobi Arena as we get set here. You've got the GG boys in green. FT Win from North America in the purple. It's 2-1 advantage FT Win, but the GG boys are loving the side of Splat Zones. And once again, a single zone Splat Zone map.
And taking a look at the composition that you see FT Win playing right here, they're running double bomb rush, which is not something that you see a ton. They know that they're going to get zoned out by all the range. So they're saying, let's put bombs up there. You can't shoot those down.
Early lead for the GG boys. They're already up 25 as they control the zone, and you don't see a single FT Win member in this screen whatsoever. So the GG boys not messing around in Splat Zones right now. Edson, I've got to be careful. That's an unequal area. Point sensor coming out. Yamamichi's going to scurry away as that Tenta missiles gets deployed, and Ice once again using the Stingray, but a couple of specials, 9, and they're not able to claim the zone quite yet.
No, they finally do get it, but they're only one down here. Taiji, I thought maybe should have run out a little bit further. You saw that Yamamichi had respawn in that situation and does punish Ice for a bit of overextension. Still a lot of game left to be played.
And Ashley, we talked about the lockout phase that's so important for FT Win. Well, this is what they're going to have to do now that you see the penalty for the GG boys.
Yeah, I mean, if they have that penalty, if they can go ahead and lock them out, don't let them apply a penalty to them, they're going to be in a very, very good position.
Oh, huge reclamation of the Splat Zone by the GG boys. That applies a 35-second penalty to FT Win. 3-2 on the map, advantage your defending champions, 9.
And that's the big thing right there. The fact that they got a 3-2 advantage means they're going to be able to push all the way up. Kill wisely running back here, just making sure that no one's coming around the flank. He has a bomb rush. He knows that they're about to have all 4 specials up. They should be able to take this without too much trouble.
And that's a very good point. You see the flashing inkling icons at the top. 4 specials ready to be deployed by FT Win. Meanwhile, they're down. They've got the 4-2 advantage, FT Win, at this point, and they take control of the Splat Zone after the GG boys improve their lead ever so slightly. 3 minutes left. FT Win trying to lock out the GG boys. They've got a 2-1 advantage, but the GG boys early on actually have controlled this entire match.
They have, but I don't know. I mean, they've got a couple of specials going, but it's possible that that one pick just right then, that might actually not be a good thing for GG boys.
A couple of bubbles coming out. GG boys, they take the zone. 2:30 left, plenty of time left. Both teams with a hefty penalty as well, too. Oh, and Shaq getting splatted, unable to use those Tenta missiles. And the GG boys, they are really stepping up this game, 9.
They are, and this is why the long-range composition works on a map like this. You notice they're able to continue painting the zone without putting themselves in danger. That's why FT Win has opted to go with the double bomb rush composition, because they know that that's the case. But sometimes, you've got to have a little more range than that.
GG boys out of the penalty box as their score continues to improve. Now they're just 17 seconds away. Stingray coming out by FT Win. And how about this? 3-2 on the map. GG boys looking to tie things up. 2-2. Can FT Win stop the advance? 1 second left. No, they can't do it. And the GG boys, after staring a 3-0 deficit in the face, have now won back-to-back games to tie this thing up at 2-2. We're at least getting a game 6 here, 9.
We are, and thank goodness for that. I was a little worried there at the start that I was going to have to break out the broom. That will not be the case. But if you are FT Win, you can say, all right, that was the worst possible draw we could have gotten. That was a map that favored their composition on a mode that they are supposed to be best at. I don't think they're losing too much sleep over that one.
And you're right, FT Win, they put up quite a fight during that match, even though the GG boys seem to always control the zone. And Ashley, mentality-wise, you were up 2-0. You lose another close game you feel like you should have won if you're FT Win. Now it's 2-2, and you're going back to splat zones once again. What's your approach?
Well, the nice thing is for FT Win is that they have just played a game mode they're going to play again. So they really understand what the strategy is for the GG boys. So they can say, okay, let's regroup. Let's figure out how we can shake up the strategy a little bit and also take back a little bit of that momentum.
As we said, Splat Zone's coming up next, but also a different map, which might favor a different composition here, Nine. And what are we going to see in our second go-around of Splat Zones in this finals?
Muscle Forge Fitness, and this is a very scary map to play it on here. They're the big sides. Some people call it the volcano that you can come up, and it's a big, big zone as well. I think we're going to see some bomb rush, perhaps from both teams, but double baller. Keep an eye out for that. That can flip the zone in a heartbeat.
Well, I know you busted out some curls at Muscle Forge Fitness earlier this morning, so it's looking great right there, my friend. And Ashley, the GG boys, they have to be feeling very confident now because you were down 2-0. You've taken the last two, and it's your game mode that you really love to see.
Yeah, I mean, this is really in their favor. And so it will be very difficult for FT Win to come out and win this one, especially if GG boys can come out and really take that lead early. I think they have an excellent chance of holding that lead.
And Nine, you look at the composition for the GG boys, and we saw for the first couple of modes, they were more so reacting to what FT Win was. It seems like the last two games, they've just decided, we're going to do what works best for us.
Right, and I think that the mode changing into modes that they're more comfortable in allowed them to play that game. And I think that the fact that they lost those first two games and now get to go through 3 potential wins before they have to see either of those again gives them plenty of time to figure out what they want to do.
This is a huge swing game right here. 2-2 FT Win versus the GG boys. Whoever takes this will be just 1 win away from the championship. And this Splatoon, Sterling, Squid, Muscle Forge Fitness. You've got FT Win representing North America in the yellow. And of course, the GG boys of Japan in the blue. Loadouts 9, what do we got here?
Well, I was wrong. There's not going to be a double baller. In fact, there's only going to be 1 baller on the map. Again, these teams are going with some more indirect ways to capture the zone. A lot of respect for each other right now.
2 L3s as well, too, for the GG boys. Nobody's got the zone right now. The GG boys finally secure it. Let's see if they can maintain and provide a little bit of a lockout. They're up 4-2 already, actually, with FT Win having to spawn back.
Yeah, I mean, watching Ice jump away there, that was probably a really good idea because it wasn't looking too good for him. So they're going to have to FT Win's going to have to regroup. Yamamichi already out there with the sticks.
Inkjet, Stingray ready to go, and 2 other specials for the GG boys. So Nine, they're doing a great job of stacking their specials early on.
They are, and they're willing to trade as many people as it takes to build this big lead because we have seen how easy it is to flip a zone back. And as long as you're in the lead, you're okay with flipping it back and forth because you know the penalty continues to stack.
And that's such a good point. You can take the biggest bite of the pie early on if you don't have that penalty. But right now, FT Win trying to lock out GG boys. GG boys trying to wrestle back control. You see the nice little 1v1 splat right there. And Shaq getting splatted as well too. GG boys with a 3-2 advantage.
Yeah, make it 3-1. How about that? Ice goes all the way back. Yo saying, I'm just going to take down whoever I can here. It's not like I was going to get much done anyway. So I like that, and I like the fact that they are continuing to fight, and that's actually a great way to continue to get your team spawned again. I love this overhead view. You see that they're trying to build as much special meter as they can with very limited room to do it.
And they have the time to do it because the penalty's going down right now for GG boys. They're not improving on their score. FT Win also with a very small penalty, so they can afford to be a little bit more patient. But the Stingray from Yamamichi once again applying that pressure, and now the GG boys about 30 seconds away here, Ashley, for making it 3-2.
Yeah, GG boys right there. Yamamichi taking out Ice was a huge deal because FT Win had 3 different specials going all at once. And so to be able to take one of those off the board was a really, really big advantage for GG boys.
All right, FT Win has got control of the zone. Their penalty's done now. You see a sizable one for the GG boys. FT Win, if they're going to dig down deep and find something to apply some pressure against the GG boys, now's the time to do it. But the GG boys, Nine, so calm, so cool, so collected. timing the use of their specials so well.
Right, and I think that going in really deep with this Inkjet here might come back to bite. Saiji going to try to hide away and actually gets the pick on to Kyo. That's a big one. Fine taking that trade to Ice there. The frontline aggressor is gone, and now they have a Stingray that they can use to pick off Ice, who's a little bit slower of a weapon than Kyo was.
You see that heavy Splatling trying to cover the zone, but the Stingray from Yamabichi continues to just dominate this matchup. GG boys almost out of the penalty. They reclaim it. They've got a couple of bubbles supporting things in there as well too. And now, 12 seconds away, GG boys trying to lock it out. Here comes Kyo with a well-timed splashdown though. Can FT Win seize control and apply a penalty? They do. They're still in there actually. Let's see if they can turn back the comeback on the GG boys.
Kyo is doing an amazing job right now. I mean, 2 huge picks right there. That is going to give them a very, very nice cushion in which to pick up some points here.
A couple of specials being built up for the GG boys. They're going to be ready to play some defense. FT Win, 9, you figured this is the time they have to lock out GG boys if they want to come back to this thing.
They have, and watch the staggers of the special here right now. They've already used 2 of them. The third one is going to go. They're going to try to make it feel like specials are coming all the time. 1 goes down and 1 jumped out. That's as good as 2 down. Let's make it 3 as well. And they are again fine trading these points as they get another one there. A little bit of a hiding squid there in the corner. But again, they're okay making that trade because with just 1 minute left, they know that they only have to do it maybe 1 more time.
And that's such a good point. They have control of the zone, and the timer is ticking down now. And so FT Win, you're up in the face against the ticking clock here. You've got to be able to seize control of this zone here soon. But the GG boys, couple specials ready to go. They're just 5 seconds away. Can FT Win claim the zone? They do! Oh, in the last second, 1 point away. And now they wrestle it back from the GG boys. And it's 4-3 on the map, FT Win. Let's see if they can write their own storybook ending in a splat zone matchup 9.
Kyo has kept the game alive for them twice. He won a 1v2 earlier. He had a splashdown to meet the bubbles. His splashdown there took it at the very end. He is willing this team to keep in this match.
Huge Stingray from Ice coming out right now. Oh, and gets a splash. FT Win just 33 seconds away from stealing victory from the GG boys. It's 4-2 on the map here, 9. Ashley, they might get it done here.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is amazing. It looks like they may actually keep them out. Taichi's going to do his best here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
3 seconds left.
No way.
GG boys takes control. 8 seconds left and a complete wipe from FT Win. And the GG boys, they were looking at defeat straight in the face, but they don't cower as they come up with the defensive stand of the tournament here, 9.
They did it with no specials. They did that without a single special. Taiji's right there was not used at all in that push. I cannot believe it. To see a push, a 4-0 wipe at the end of the game when the opponent knows we just have to hold it for a handful of seconds, and to get it without needing a single special might be the best.
Look at this from Taiji. I mean, this is amazing. He gets in there. Kyo gets taken out. And Tona right there giving that support that's needed, and they're able to take that right back. Oh my gosh.
The 2v1, as you said, no specials required, just special ability from these players. The GG boys almost losing a splat zone, which would have been a huge steal of a game by FT Win. You look at what this team is able to do. GG boys now winning 3 straight games. They're 1 away from repeating as champions, but Ashley, it's the 2 game modes coming up here that FT Win has already won.
They've already won these 2 game modes. I mean, they're coming in, they can say, we can come in confident here. And as we've talked about, even if they win this, if they win this, tower control might be theirs, because as you were saying, 9, GG boys, that might be their worst mode.
It might be, but they could not have asked for a better Rainmaker map. This is Kelp Dome Rainmaker right here, a fairly infamous map in the Splatoon community, but it is also the easiest map to defend. They're going to be able to stack 2 Stingrays, 3 Stingrays if you want. There's only one way the Rainmaker's going to push.
But you have to have the lead in order to defend. And what we've seen from FT Win is their ability to take early leads. But in these last 3 victories, it's been the GG boys that have gone out first. If you're FT Win, how important is it for you in this one to take the early lead and take away the defensive advantage for the GG boys?
I think it's a requirement. I think that if they have to play from behind, that will play exactly into how the GG boys want to play. If the GG boys get an early lead, I don't think FT Win can break through.
GG boys just 1 game away from etching their names onto the Splatoon Sterling Squid once again. However, FT Win, they won Rainmaker earlier in this best of 7. They want to take game 6 and give all of us a game 7 here. The crowd's been fantastic. I know that this is what they've been looking forward to. At least a game 6 here between 2 of the top squads in the world here, Ashley. Any pressure on any one of these teams at this point when you look at a game 6 here between these two?
Both of them. I mean, this is both of them. You know, you've got FT Win. They got to come out swinging. GG Boys have to do the exact same thing. I mean, this almost feels like the real pivotal. I mean, this is it for me. Like, whoever wins this is going to come into that game 7. If we need a game 7, it's going to come into that game 7 like really raring to go.
And what's been interesting, Nine, is how much of the time these teams have been using. There's so much strategy and counter strategy going back and forth. Once again, FT Win was just moments away from taking a 3-0 lead, but a come from behind last second overtime victory and clam blitz by the GG Boys spurred a 3-0 run by them. They're now just 1 game away.
The teams have seen these maps ahead of time. I think they're taking the time to catch their breath, and I think it is not without merit as we start up game 6.
Here we go, game 6, Rainmaker, Kelp Dome. GG Boys of Japan in the purple, 1 game away from claiming the championship. FT Win in the green. They're looking to push this thing to a game 7. And early on, what are we seeing here? Ashley, as we see both teams kind of fight for control of the middle of the map.
Yeah, you're going to want to get a couple of picks before you pick up that Rainmaker. You can see Shaq just hear it, but not quite picking it up. They know they need to take out a couple of GG Boys. And it doesn't quite work out.
Nice trade right there. Some Stingray support. And we talked about trying to get the early lead and not able to do anything with the Rainmaker there right now, Nine. And you look at the GG Boys, they have the player advantage on the map.
The fact that Shaq was only able to get one of those 2, I think, was huge. And again, saving the punishment there and forcing Ice to head back to spawn when he was sitting there ready to punish his big CKO off the side. I don't know if they know he's here. He might be able to slow this down. They spot him off just in time. We're going to get a chance for a push right here.
GG Boys, we talked about that early lead, how important it is for them. They're not on the board quite yet, but here they go. They finally are able to get into the half of FT Win. So GG Boys with that important early lead. Now we might see more of that defense here, Nine.
Well, 67, you're going to see a lot of stops right in that area. You see that door right there, and you see the fact that there is not much room. That is the key moment. The fact that Shaq was able to get all 3 means that any push that was started was gone and completely gone. We're going to see Ice try to do the same thing on the other side.
Big opportunity to take the lead for FT Win here. You want to take away that defensive opportunity for the GG Boys. Yo, trying to get some pressure and chase out Etna. Etna trying to avoid all the splats. Oh, corner. And already the lead is taken by FT Win, and you mentioned that is the tight corridor you're trying to get into. And Ashley, FT Win doing what they want to do, get an early lead.
Dynamon sitting here waiting, just waiting. He's lurking around the corner. That hallway, I mean, that is a choke point of all choke points. So it's a very difficult get past there, especially with Taiji on that inkjet. He is so accurate.
IG and the Inkjet 4-3 on the field right now. GG Boys, but they are down to FT Win 59-67. They can't rely on playing defense with those ranged weapons, but a splashdown picked off in midair will do huge things for the GG Boys.
That's the gamble. At this level, splashdown ain't what it used to be. And I love the fact that they immediately opt to move up and try to put pressure on 2D. They know that someone is going to be waiting in this area. They're trying to get there preemptively. And 2D able to get off his special and maybe even a pick. The fact that his special is there, though, might be big for the defense.
FT Win looking for one more game to force a game 7. They're down 4-3 on the map right now, and the GG Boys are looking to steal the lead. But once again, that Stingray by Ice has been the saving grace for FT Win, Ashley.
I mean, Ice is going to be there waiting for that corridor. I mean, that's where you hold that special for. As soon as they get to that doorway, it's time. Yamamichi, though, doing the exact same thing. Taiji's going to go ahead and take it forward.
Yamamichi providing the Stingray support. They're able to mow down FT Win like a Saturday morning lawn. 3-2 on the map for a moment here, but now it's 4-4. And if you're FT Win, you've got to get the Rainmaker out of here. GG Boys are just 30 points away from claiming another championship. Everybody's in this room right now, Nine.
Oh, and Kill getting stuck there. I don't know if it'll come back to bite them because Dynamon by himself. That will be the end of that push. But again, to be able to get it to 30, that starts to get into the danger zone, and with just 90 seconds left, there's not much time.
2D trying to go through the back door, however, gets splatted, and that's a difficult spot for the Rainmaker to land, because now, if you're FT Win, you gotta dig it out of there. And if you're the GG Boys, you have a minute and a half of defense left, but here goes Ice by himself. He's gonna need a little bit more support, but at least you have the Rainmaker on their map. Not gonna survive that onslaught of burst bomb. Ashley, GG Boys, all they've got to do is hold down home base at this point.
They do, and Yamamichi already has his Stingray ready, so it looks like he's going to go ahead and do that.
1 minute left. The GG boys up 30 to 59. They have the Rainmaker, Inkstorm coming out, 10 to missiles. You see the global view. FT win down 4-2 on the map. Huge swing right here, 9.
It was. That Stingray got a pick, and then Etima came and got a second one. This means they're going to control middle going into this final push. They might opt to just sit here and shoot as many shots as they can. They just want to milk the clock.
That's such a good point. You talk about the tight corner. Oh, but FT win getting the splat. It's 2-2 and some Stingray support from Ice. You're going to have time for about one more push here, 9. FT win trying to keep their tournament hopes alive. Meanwhile, GG boys just moments away from yet another championship.
It is, and again, they're going to try to probably let this reset, and Dynamo going to do whatever he can to just milk more time. He used that special really early and even got the pick. Taiji's going to grab it. He knows he's going down there, but they're keeping the Rainmaker there.
12 seconds left, 3-1 on the field. GG boys, they can smell victory. They want to be repeat champions. They just have to protect the Rainmaker. FT win trying to turn things around. The GG boys get it done, and how about that? Staring 0-3 in the face. The defending champions rise from the ashes like a phoenix and go 4-0 in a row. And the GG boys of Japan, your Splatoon 2 world champions for 2019.
If you want any example of why maps can change everything in Splatoon 2, that was the best Rainmaker map that the GG boys could have hoped for. Once they got that first big push that was opened up by a Stingray, a pick here, a pick there, all they had to do was keep it there, and that's why they got that win.
Ashley, how crazy was this? FT win when they were down 2-1 in the semifinals. They win 4 straight matches to take a 2-0 lead in the finals. The GG boys, as we mentioned, that last second victory, they win 4 straight. Here they are in the middle. They are victorious. Give it up for the GG boys, your Splatoon 2 World Championship 2019 winners. And just the resolve from this team, they are now back-to-back champions. Going to see their name twice on the Splatoon Sterling Squid. Just an unbelievable effort as they dug themselves back from a 2-0 hole here, Ashley.
I mean, what an absolute effort by every single one of those players. I couldn't possibly even pick an MVP because I feel like that was a true team effort. Although, I don't know, man. Yamaguchi with those Stingrays. Woo!